interwebs, and welcome to our Skeptic Bible Study, Sacrificial Vows, where tonight we order some food to go, as God commands sacrifices on Trumpet blowing day and Holy Convection days.
Trumpet blowing day.
Oh my. Before telling us vows for men or women, because why not? So come
What about
join
those in
James
between?
W.
Do we have vows for the in-between?
Well, I gotta be honest with you. My bet would be that it's not going to be a good stick for the women, and I think the men are gonna get off easy. So anything closer to the female spectrum, I feel like, is going to get this hit. Though I don't think anyone back then in the Bible, oh, that's okay. We're sending love to all of our LGBTQ sisters and brothers that survived the Inquisition.
The Christian persecutions. Yeah.
That's true. No matter what flavor of religion, but we're sending love to everyone out there. So come join James W. and myself as we swing into the Book of Numbers. Oh my. Woohoo! I want to thank everyone for joining us on the intertubes, no matter if you got your vaccine and booster shot or if you're trying to fight the space lizards. Boop, boop.
Or if you're trying to pray the coronavirus away.
That's right, James. Why use science when you could just pray about it?
Pray.
Until you go to the ER.
What are the scientists going to do that the creator of the universe can't do? I mean, come on.
Apparently, fund our sponsor, which, as always, our unofficial sponsor is whywon'tgodhealamputees.com, which apparently, too hard. Well, miracle claims aren't what they used to be, James. You gotta take what you get.
Yeah.
Including our vaccines that come from the New World Order. So thank you, New World Order. And George Soros.
Thank your mom and dad.
If you're feeling fancy, please don't forget to like, follow, or subscribe. Hey! And then set that bell icon to all, boom, 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 so you can get reminders to see our premieres or join our live streams. And all right, with that, we're going to hand it over to Gilbert. I know. He's
our buddy Gilbert,
I hope he had a good Thanksgiving. And we're going to hand it to you, Gilbert. What are we about to read?
Some of you may be new to this abomination of a study. These schmucks begin by reading each episode's chapters along with the annotations on the side for funsies. The hosts are a tiny bit special, so don't mind if they butcher or replace everybody's name with something completely horrible or stupid. However, the gibberish that spews forth from their face holes will still be an attempt at reading this book from cover to cover, which I'm sure has tons of wisdom or an insight on whether we can or cannot put things up our butt. if you have time to waste screaming internet memes at random strangers, then join the Discord. Or scream at them personally at your YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch streams. Finally, don't forget to support these idiots doing more lame shenanigans at Amy Newman's Patreon page. All right, schmucks, back to you.
Thanks, Gilbert. Amy. I think we might have lost Amy for a little bit. Amy? You with us, Amy?
Woohoo! I'm sorry
Did you
about
cut out
that.
or did I cut out?
Taken. I think it was me. I got taken down by Satan to sell timeshares in hell. And with that, I am sending love to everyone out there for joining us at our Skeptic Bible Study. And that is right.
Internet memes.
That is right. Internet memes. That is right, Gilbert. You can find our Patreon at patreon.com/Amy Newman if you're feeling fancy. And it's supported, including this housekeeping, by Patreons like boom, 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 K.O. Champ, because let's be honest, any non-Abrahamic religions kind of triggers the other. But somehow the Christian, Jewish, and Islamic religions call themselves classical. But those are just the pagan religions. But that's okay. We're sending love to us from the Envious Round Table. Woo-hoo!
Thank you, Oz.
Tang gang yo. Woohoo! And
Oz always cooking up
Oz,
something great.
And speaking of better conversations and better debates, are you looking for a better community? Well, you better head over to tart.live for the better event. Tickets on sale now, and we are getting ready to do a bit of pre-production on possibly a new fun show. So send in love to Oz out there. We got Kitty Overlord.
Which one?
But I can't send enough. We have Moonlight, but I'm also sending love out to Penelope, because we send love, and to Gizmo, and any cats and dogs that you happen to bring on these streams.
Ryder here tonight.
Hi, Ryder.
He's so worn out. I don't think he'll be participating much tonight. But
I can understand. But we hope you out there are getting cozy, just putting the pillow up. We support it for Ryder. Woohoo! And all right, send in love to Oz from Tang Gang, and head over to tart.live.
All the cool people are there.
That's what the cool people do.
Yeah, they're all on tart.live.
And also sending love to leveling up in the skeptic community, even though they will tell us, the creationists anyway, that this is a watch. No. It's definitely a watch. Even though, we have a breathing organ that when we eat and when we drink, there is the possibility that we will die. But besides that, it is perfect in every single way.
You mean like a pretzel getting stuck in your throat and suffocating you? Like that? Amazing design.
And even
Yeah.
hearts, while they are amazing and keep us alive, probably only secondary to lovely organs, the second, your brains and your lungs. But
Heart's the first organ that forms.
This also has defects. It has stress in both environmental and genetics. And so, although it is quite the amazing organ, just as much as I love the brain, it has been naturally selected over billions of years to be fantastic. Woohoo!
That it has
and
been.
So is Ian Davenport. The argument
Thank
from
you, Ian.
design. I can't help myself.
Yeah. We've destroyed that on multiple occasions, but it never.
I just like getting into the weeds.
It's so fun to go back
slowly, to it. I can just feel these arguments from contingency and cosmology. Holy moly. What if I may say so, a hockafooey, just like the argument from design over here. And it's so funny that they are very technical, syllogistic ways of hiding bullshit. So
buried deep in questionable philosophy.
Exactly. A lot of them are just philosophical quandaries sometimes, like begins to exist, which I think is vague language that a car salesman, and I shouldn't even just shit on the car salesman, we'll just say the shady one that is tweaking things out.
A cheap attorney.
Yes, the cheap.
Cheap attorney.
As much as we better call Sal. As much as we. But yes, we are also sending, when we hear these claims, when we hear all of this nonsense, it makes us and a grumpy old bleep, 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 a grumpy old cuss kind of go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Because let's be honest, a lot of these arguments haven't changed in 50, 100, thousands of years. But hey, I'm sure we will mine wisdom from the Bible tonight. I know it's coming. And that's what she said.
They've ran out of room in the physical reality to hide their God in. They've got to hide him in the realm of philosophy. The gaps in the natural world are just not big enough. They're not wide enough for that God anymore. So bury him in philosophy.
It's true. And it's funny. They consistently will say that we are using the wrong tool. You're using science. What you need to be using is philosophy. And while I appreciate philosophy and feel that any good theory is going to start with a little bit of good philosophizing or hypothesizing, you eventually need to get your butt into a lab or out in the field, because really science is about frigging around and then finding out.
Yeah. Test your hypothesis.
Test it.
Is it falsifiable? And that's the thing. If it's not falsifiable, you can't test it. It's not science.
Exactly. And I don't know any way you could falsify any sorts of these apologetic arguments that
they're designed that way.
Spoon-fed.
Yeah, they're designed to be unfalsifiable because they're not trying to show he exists. They're just trying to show, well, you can't prove he doesn't.
There you go, James. See?
Yeah.
Now we're almost using our brain, I think. Probably not. Anyway, kitty overlord.
That's your brain.
That's your brain. This is your brain.
Your brain on religion would be taking the bat and beating that brain into submission.
Yes. Well, beating or just putting on a leotard and putting on powder and becoming the best mental gymnastics that you can possibly do. Da-da-da, ho, hey, hey. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you get a rapist.
Noah's flood was real.
Noah's flood was real, and it was moral. No.
And it was good.
It was good.
Selling your kids into slavery is good. It's a reasonable way to solve a family budget shortfall, right?
Exactly. And it's perfect and for all time. So you don't really need to understand the context of like selling your daughter into slavery because it's perfect. It lasts forever and you are getting money out of your daughter. So
look, instead of having to spend money to take care of her daughter, you just find some guy to give you money for her. And then it's his problem after that, right?
Exactly. James,
biblical slavery.
Once you pass her off, does it really matter anymore? Biblical morality.
Family values.
Family values. But also, we're sending love as we're talking about all this biblical family values dealing with women. We're sending love to Diana Smith, 3 Princesses in One.
Thank you, Diana.
Because, the Bible really just...
Thank you, Doorknob.
Makes us think that it treats women like... What's the word? It almost treats them like humans. Almost. But,
they're still sort of human. Exactly. They're quasi-human, I mean.
You can't really treat them the same because then what would you do with... Are you really going to let your cattle vote, James? Come on. That'd be silly.
I mean, it would be pretty crazy. Yeah, Doorknob, I don't think my laugh will be made a ringtone, but I'm not knocking the guy. He just does have a very distinctive laugh. The Smokey Saint laugh should definitely be a ringtone because he has a trademark laugh. And, Well,
we're sending love to all of our theist brothers and sisters out there. And let me tell you, at the end of the stream, come join us.
I wish I had a laugh like that.
But also, we are sending love to the resident archaeologist who had his 2 best buds on to have an archaeology party, as we recently asked ourselves, is absence of evidence of absence from an archaeological perspective with the lovely Pat Loinger.
And then Pat came on. Pat was that guy. He was going to be that guy who was going to deny the 100% proof of Christianity that we were presented in the last episode that we did.
That is true.
100% proof, and Pat wasn't satisfied with it. He wasn't convinced by it.
And I think we're supposed to be Christians now, right? Because we've seen the whole video. We were Muslims after we converted from 100%
guaranteed to prove you that the Quran was the word of God. Yes. Because
so
the word for Pharaoh is actually the word for king. So therefore, the what's that book? The Quran is the word of God.
Yes, this is the not literature miracle, something similar to that. Basically saying that because linguistic miracle is what they
people
say.
memorize the Quran.
Possibly.
People memorize it.
The whole thing, which once again, memorization and comprehension is not really the same thing. It's fantastic and a skill set that you can memorize things, and you should if you want to sing lyrics or act or do anything that takes a little bit of memory. Nonetheless, it's almost like you could do the same Chinese experiment test where you could be translating perfectly back and forth, even memorizing the codes, but if you don't understand what has been being passed between the two translations, if it's two different languages and you're just translating it, you don't understand what the conversation's saying. You don't understand what's going on.
I mean, have you ever had, well, hopefully you haven't, but if you've ever seen a police officer ask somebody who's had a little bit much to say the alphabet without singing it, and they can sing it fine, but can they say it without singing it? No, they can't, because
and there's a reason for that.
Memory and comprehension. Yeah.
I think I have to do this contractually every other stream, but the only reason that I know any of the Hebrew alphabet is because of that stupid melody. But it works. You just go aleph bet aleph bet gimel daleth hey gimel daleth hey, and it works. And you teach this probably in every language. You have some song and you have some way.
My German teacher in high school used to make little melodies to remember certain words by. Yeah.
Exactly, because that's how our brains learn. But I don't think that it's a trait from God. It's a trait that is useful in the wild that we are now just using for other things. Yeah, it's pattern memorization. We're pattern seeking animals.
If you can put one melody in one pattern and you can put those words in a similar pattern, it kind of helps you remember that.
Exactly. And it helps you play video games.
Well, that too.
Which is truly what I assume that Yahweh was trying to build us for. But also... If only. But also, we are sending love. And we're asking... We're asking for a little bit of empirical evidence. And it's funny, when we even get to the deistic arguments, they're never about empiricism. In fact, the empiricism tends to lie in like a crude irony version in the creationist and intelligent design and whatever new PR word that they've created.
It's not real.
Exactly, but they're the people, they're like, look at this paper from 1974 that has this one word that I clipped out and I don't show the conclusion. It's science.
Yeah.
But then
this one scientist did radiocarbon dating wrong, therefore all of radiocarbon dating is all wrong. Throw the whole thing out because a couple scientists didn't calibrate it right, so therefore you can't trust it all.
It also happened like in the 1950s or something,
or before,
way far back. Not shitting on any time period in history, but let's just say that the creationist, intelligent design, blah, 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 blah movement isn't on the cutting edge of science. They're not really known for their new papers every year.
Ken Hovind's not scanning the current science journals. On the daily.
Is scanning something all right, but I assume it's going to be 4 walls. I hope he scans them very, very well.
Maybe making license plates?
Maybe making license plates. Look, sometimes you need to talk about a 15-foot. I bet he can say he found Jesus in there. It'll be perfect. He'll be the one.
Your yoga teacher's going to jail?
You'll find my yoga teacher Oh, he'll finally be able to get
Maybe he's going to do
flexible.
yoga with the inmates. There you go. That would kind of
That's true.
make him less aggressive, less hostile,
Less
more
aggressive,
at peace.
hopefully they could teach him physics. He seems to have a hard time with physics. Maybe he could get a lesson there.
Not doing gravity experiments by knocking your wife to the ground.
Physics experiments. Good luck, Kent. And we're sending love to not only Dale Pastel, as we kind of looked for empirical
Thank you, Dale.
But also Dave Gar.
Dave Gar was in chat earlier. Hey, Dave Gar.
What is up, Dave Gar? I get some flat earthers that sometimes say I treat them unfairly, which is, I would say, never
You're
true.
a meanie.
Because I know they say I'm a meanie.
You're biased.
Which I have round-shaped gloves when I go back and forth because I just want clean sound bites, ladies and gentlemen. I am here for you and sending love. But I really want people to talk. I prefer a Socratic method. I don't like saying that during debates because I think that lets people kind of get a little defensive. Nonetheless, I like hearing what people have to say because I feel if they're going to say something that is, let's just say, a little out of this world, I want it out there. Let them say it, ladies and gentlemen. Let them, I hate to go negative, but just give them the rope so they can fall doing jump rope.
Give them enough rope to jump rope.
Exactly, exactly, to jump rope with. And so we're sending love to Dave Gar and
Thank you, Dave
anyone
Gar.
who has a non-traditional facts, though there are only facts. I will say that there are
a non-reality based model of a non-reality based.
That, like, science has nothing to do with the flat Earth. They don't believe because of science. Okay, they believe after watching so much of this, just in a deep-seated distrust of a certain amount of institutions. And, you know, I'm not a big fan, especially of religious institutions that have existed for thousands of years. Nonetheless, there are some institutions that need to be taken down. There are some institutions that we can just take a good old good old Betsy here, and you can just break down because they are run from the core out, and they are founded on superstition and tribalism.
Nonsense.
Remember, ladies and gentlemen, always go for the head or the double tap. Make sure when dealing with zombies. Though I hear Jesus is a nice guy, my yoga teacher. That's what he tells me. But also, sending love to the lead hyena of the pack, Scott Durr.
Thank you, Scott.
Woohoo! Thank you, sending love as we remember that humans are also animals. And
that's true, Pat. That's true. We're critical, and Hovind does do some experiments like his sand art toy to disprove sedimentation. Oh, you flip the thing over and you see the layers. Therefore, all of geology is bullshit. And the Earth was made, could have been 6 days ago, but 6,000 years ago is what the book says.
I don't understand star formation. I don't understand anything about how you make planets and solar
star formation, that's easy. God just said poof, and the star poofed into existence. He did that about 800 quadrillion times for every star in the universe, but he did it all instantly because he's God.
Because he's God. Because he says so. Because it's easy.
And if you don't believe him, he'll roast you forever because he loves you.
And I do want to put a bow because I think I was remembering one of my thoughts. So even though if you really want to talk to, I would say, a conspiracy theorist, always go for, I would say, ask them, what do the people get out of it? That's really what I want to know. I also, I'll give you a good answer for ghosts. I always want to know, and this may sound weird, I want to know what all of your cells get out of it. It's always your consciousness. It always has to be, for whatever reason, it has to be about us, but your other organs kind of just get shafted. I see lots
shafted.
of...
That's a good word for you, Newman.
Shafted. And it's the same. It's the same with flat Earth. I don't understand. It means that we achieved world peace. It's not really about the science, because I think the science is clearly with the I hate to say secular community, because it's not really secular science.
Reality-based
community. But also sending love, not just to Scott Duke, the lead hyena of the pack, and also Answers in Atheism, where Scott Duke and myself hang out a lot with the Weather Report. Sending love over there, but also Regos.
Thank you, Regos.
Our thespian skull, because
he might come out tonight.
That's what he said. But also because the Bible just gets a little, thou shalt die and thou shalt like it, because I'm kind of bored. It's kind of weird. Moses was so close to, I feel like, getting to the end of this book. So close to getting to the end of Numbers. Like when you're watching a horror movie and you think that one main character is going to get to the end, you're like, come on, they're not going to kill Jake. And they're going to kill Jake.
Yeah.
Oh, but we love Regis.
I mean, actually, of course, we know that Moses wrote the first 5 books of the Bible, of course, even though the books do themselves recount the death of Moses. So I guess Moses wrote it before he died, about his death, but he wrote it to make it look like he was writing it after the events took place, just for continuity's sake.
Oh, it makes sense. It makes sense if you don't think about it.
Because they'll tell you that they're like, no, Moses was a person and he wrote those books, except up one part about after he was dead. Obviously, someone else wrote that, but the rest of them, no. He wrote everything else in all 5 of those books, all Moses, except the parts about Moses being dead. Somebody else wrote that.
Oh,
maybe we don't know who, but whatever. Word of God, word of God. I think Amy will be right back. Must be having summoned by the devil once again, as he likes to do.
Thank you so much.
He's a trickster.
Shell timeshares in hell. But last, but certainly not least, Rachel Holland.
Rachel.
I'm contractually obligated to finish the song.
One more twirl. One more twirl. Give the fans what they want. There you go.
That's right, baby. And we are reminding ourselves that the Bible doesn't condone slavery, because that would be, I don't know, subjective. That would be something that God got wrong. And I just can't imagine God actually getting something,
That's true.
that could easily be shown false.
That's true. So it must be, so that problem must be with us, not with God. It's our understanding of it. We're the ones with the problem, not God.
See, now you're understanding it. And all right, I want to thank all of our Patreons.
Thank you, guys.
You are who make this possible, along with the mods, the people in chat, and of course, people like you. During our
guys.
Skeptic Bible Study, we try to greet everyone on screen. However, if you want your specific thoughts, questions, or one-liners read out loud, help us find your comment by tagging James or myself in chat at Amy Newman. After the chapters are done, we will be switching into an open mic so you could tell us face-to-face about the wisdom we just experienced. And hey, if this is your first time to the series, you may be asking, what version of the Bible are we about to read? Hi, what a fantastic question.
Categories,
which brings us to our categories.
Yes, she did.
Before we begin, I'm going to start by going over the specific Bible we'll be reading, along with some helpful category marks. Categories, you say? Why, yes I do. You see, we're going to be reading from the Skeptic's Annotated Bible, an entire King James Bible lovingly fawned over by a skeptic who decided he would add his own notations. These are little flagpoles of sanity put in use to remind us that, hey, maybe slavery is evil, including categories like absurdity, injustice, and cruelty, but also a good amount of intolerance, contradictions, and conflicts with science or history. That doesn't mean it's not packed full of misogyny, false prophecy, and some questionable biblical family values. Now, we won't skip the good parts that the Bible has, only that these passages seem far fewer in number than any priest or pastor seems to suggest. So without further ado, won't you come join the Skeptic crew?
Woohoo! And with that, welcome everyone to our Skeptic Bible Study. On the last episode, Moses out, Joshua in. God commanded Moses to die, but allowed him to pick a successor for the Israelites in Joshua. Though before he left us, Moses had a few more animal sacrifices left up his sleeve. In this episode, we order some food to go as God commands sacrifices on trumpet blowing day and holy convection days before telling us vows for men or women. So come join James W. and myself as we swing into the book of Numbers. And what is of us, Tanganyo? And with that, we are on the book of Numbers, chapter 29. We're almost done Numbers. We only have a few more chapters, and we are going to be done the fourth book of the Bible. And it has been basically such a jam-packed book of wisdom That's what I keep on going to. I just can't help myself.
Particularly numbers.
You need to have a giant census. I don't know if that census went to war or did anything. I want to say cool because genocide is kind of horrible, but I mean cool in the same way that like the orcs raided in Lord of the Rings and tried to take down the two towers.
I mean,
so
as amazing as Leviticus was, sentencing
I don't
people
know
like Cain
why
to
we
death,
counted people. Yeah.
numbers
Well,
is even better.
That's right. Brian Stevens likes to remember that, or remind us that God didn't kill babies. He just relocated them to heaven. Though I don't know why drowning. That is what I always go back to. I think that is Pine Creek's question, is like the drown or poof. And he just asked them, if you had, like, forget that the Noah's thing is done. God decides he wants to kill everyone again. And he's just giving you an ultimatum here, which is you need to select. Are you going to drown everyone again? He's okay with doing Splash Park Mountain 2 to everyone. Or are you going to make them poof? And
I mean, he could have cut all their heads off with chainsaws. I mean, he's God. He can do anything he wants, right? So maybe you can think of something better, but you have to praise God that he didn't do something worse than drowning.
Well, I mean, you would think there would be something more evil, but if you pick poof, I feel like you have to give an explanation as to why. And if you're going to defend that, you might have to realize that, hey, my morality, your morality is way better than the guy that's making everyone drown.
Yeah, poof is no fun.
Oh, no, I know. Well, of course. If we just poofed everyone there, there'd be no movie. There'd be no book.
No suffering. I mean, come on.
You got to fill those seats. Pat says, I just want to point out James and Amy are always telling theists to get more knowledgeable of science. And the minute Hovind conducts a bit of impromptu field research, they're critical.
That'd be knocking his wife to the ground. Yeah.
Look, we understand that Kent decided to become an impromptu physics teacher. And so I hope that he gets a impromptu School of Hard Knocks lesson wherever he's going. License plate's done.
Thank you, Kent.
Thank you. That shows how much you know, Pat says. God didn't point and say. And hey, if you want your comment read once again on screen, feel free to tag James W. and myself on screen and Amy Newman. We are about to be going into the Book of Numbers, chapter 29. And we're eating popcorn. That's what we're also doing. Saying hi to also our lovely Twitch stream, or on YouTube, or on Facebook. But we're going to start some questioning into some journeying. I think I flipped my brain there, into the Bible, and then I'll read some more questions. I see some good.
Just 2 light categories to start off, and then we can get
2 light categories, because I think we'll need to break this up, because my lordy, please, the Bible just is known for its humor. And let me tell you, when we're talking about sacrifices on trumpet blowing day, and who doesn't remember fond memories of trumpet blowing day? I feel like I did when I was much older, but I think we may have a different trumpet blowing day than what the Bible is talking about.
Slightly different.
Slightly different, but nonetheless, that doesn't help us from having a second category of you love it, you need it, violence, ladies and gentlemen, because what would the Bible be without a good laugh and a good stabby stab? Oh, you gotta kill something.
An action comedy.
It's an action comedy. An acomedy? I was gonna say a fracomedy, but that had no letters in between. It's just a lot of fun, ladies and gentlemen. And this may be our first time. I can't believe that I actually have to say this, but the Bible may actually have a contradiction. Could you believe that, James? A contradiction in the Bible?
They've been telling us all this time it doesn't. Feel like they would know better. It's their book.
Yeah, that'd be silly. I can't believe there would have been a contradiction before. This wouldn't be our first time seeing a contradiction in a Bible.
The very first.
The very first. Oh, excuse me. Sponsored by Sugar Water. And all right, the book of Numbers, chapter 29. I'm going to read this little bit of fun and then keep on tagging us some comments with your wisdom about this wisdom on sacrifices on trumpet blowing day. Blue. Sounds like I'm going to have to get on my knees. What were we talking about? And in the 7th month, not in the 8th or the 9th, on the first day of the month, and we're back into exposition mode.
They got their Social Security check, so first month.
First day of the month. Ye shall have a holy convection. You'll know it's holy because it will be super special and glowy. Ye shall... Oven? Yes, a convection oven. We're going to make cookies. Well, actually, we're not. Ye shall do no servile work. Well, what if the cookies aren't really servile? What if I like doing cookies? Does that actually count? It is a day of blowing the trumpets all onto you. Hot and nasty. What? No. What? Really? Blowing trumpets.
So you can't actually do anything constructive or beneficial to anybody. You just have to waste time blowing trumpets.
I think that's kind of funny. So God has an appreciation for music. Very specific taste, but okay. You know what's on his iPod. And ye shall offer a burnt offering. I would like it rare. Don't burn that shit. A sweet savor of sauce. I feel like he's becoming Larry David a little bit. A little bit of sweet savor sauce. I think I feel like I'm entitled to sweet and savor sauce. What do I have to do to get a sacrifice?
2 scoops of sauce.
2 scoops of sauce. Onto the Lord Bob. Oh boy, we're recruiting her. We need one young Sandra Bullock. Specifically with high heels and a gun. We also need her driving 1 Dodge Ram and 7 recruited lamb chops. Of the first year and without a blemish. I see a blemish
with Sherry Lewis.
With Sherry Lewis. Them and Sandra Bullock. If they have blemishes, they out.
Like the guy with the deformed testicle. Not allowed in the temple. That's
right. It sounds like a fedora moment, but there was a guy who did not have a testicle that was
perfect set.
Kosher, and so they did not let him in. I'm pretty sure I feel like everyone gets the complaint department right back there. I don't remember if he died or not.
Who would be the one checking all the guys' testicles before they entered, just to make sure?
I just have to say, to actually become a Jew and to if you get that pre-baby, I'm very much against the circumcision against guys and girls, though obviously, if you're gonna do it as an adult, Rob end to you. But it's just funny that a God needs to. You're born perfect, but then sin comes in, and then you have these objects that are supposed to be the creation of the universe. You share in his image, but some things go wrong. You have to correct them.
I don't like that little flap of skin on the end of the dick that I made. Y'all just got to cut it off because I am not rewriting the genetic code for that to take that off. So
Yeah, wouldn't it be easier just to poof?
no. You know how many lines of code that is? Ask John Maddox how hard that would be for God to do all those codons and gene random flux mutations with the bullshit codon.
And they always ask, wouldn't it be so what's the word? Illogical, improbable that life could form on this planet? And it's like, no, it is. It's actually a lot of good reasons as to why life forms around the circumstellar habitable zone on this planet. It makes a lot of sense why something like a virus would, mutate and eventually harden into a shell-like thing that can start to reproduce on its own like a bacteria, and we're starting to actually get life and then once you get life in evolution just goes away, runs away. You give us a few billion years, you get multicellular organisms. It makes the funny thing is that it makes such perfect sense, or not. I hate to use the word perfect, but it makes so much sense that we teach it in elementary and middle school. It's very simple concepts that someone with a 15-foot you would think would understand. Nonetheless,
we teach the round earth in elementary school too, and
that's true. But, a lot of these people sound technical the first time you come across them. The first time that you come across a flat earther, the first time you come across an apologist, these people are trained in rhetoric, not saying that, we all have our spiels and our shticks. I would like to know why prophets, as we're reading the Bible, I still would like to know why prophets. I really don't get this. And he's about to kill off Moses, and it's like, why? You killed off Aaron Ra, the main priest, and, all these people are loyal to this God, and they get very little in return. Every once in a while he throws them some water, but I hope it's not quail, because once again, I'll do one more tip my fedora moment. I can't help myself. We'll get back in, but just there was a book. I would have never read this story, but you're moving through the desert. The Israelites are hungry. They have no food. They ask God, basically beg him and say, you took us out of Egypt, which is like the common thing, the scare threat that God's always like, I took you out of Egypt. I could turn this minivan right around. And it's like, okay.
But tell me, Amy, real quick, who got them into Egypt in the first place? How did they get in that predicament?
Put you in there. Yahweh put them in there, and so
his idea, right, to get them stuck in there in the first.
A lot of asshole situations. Like, we think of the Technicolor Dreamcoat as something dreamy and musical. Like, that was betrayal at the family level. That was a screwed up scenario that, once again, at the end of the story, when someone puts a bow on it and he gets to be the king's son, father, and gets to rule, everyone's like, see, it turned out all right. Well, no, not really, because his family still betrayed him. It was still a horrible circumstance. It really made no sense how the one guy got picked because a guy right before him got slaughtered.
It was about staying loyal to God no matter what, never giving up the faith, which
no
is
matter what.
basically right. What the whole point of all this is. Like,
Just
I know,
stay loyal.
so like I know there's no evidence. I know you don't see anything, but don't give up, and God will reveal Himself to you. Just keep on believing, and He'll do amazing things in your life. Keep spending that money, and one day you'll get it all back tenfold.
Oh, that's right. You just got to keep on gambling on God. You just got to keep on putting those seed donations into Yahweh, because then, it'll eventually come back to you 10 times more. Or it'll just go to the guy that's selling the invisible product.
Creflo Dollar needs a new jet. I'm just saying.
It is so funny that those dudes have jets and all of that prosperity gospel. It is funny that the prosperity gospel is the one thing that brings atheists and theists together, and we're like, okay, that shit is nasty. But yes, back to cooking with Yahweh.
Yay.
And the juicy, thick meat offering shall be of shake weight? So I'm sorry. Of flour mingled with oil, 3/10 deals for a Sandra Bullock. I just like that they're bringing her back, and it's good that we grew a field. And 2/10 for a Dodge Ram. Vroom, 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 vroom. And 1/10 for one lamb. Uh-oh, you're going to cut lamb chop in half? I feel like that is going to get a little sacrificial itself throughout the 7 lambs. That just sounds funny.
Hi, Nick.
What's up, Nick? Oh, hold on. I have it's not quite $400. But I mean, I have to feel fancy. I am doing a stream, so.
Amy's making it rain over there.
Oh, baby. This is the internet pole that connects all of our 5G chips. But I could dance around the fact that the New World Order and George Soros himself is trying to make vaccines. Can I also just give one last PSA talking about vaccines to all the people who are like, oh my God, there's a new mutation of it. Yes, yes, that is how evolution works. There's a reason you get a flu vaccine every year. So the fact that we kill the majority of it and whatever is toughened, armored left, crawling out of the nuclear wastelands of its existence is the new mutation. Yes, that's what survived. That's how evolution works. I don't know how to say this, but for anyone looking for viruses to go away completely, I got bad news. They've been here since the dawn of, I'm going to say, Earth. Maybe a little bit longer, but...
It's like insects, like roaches.
Exactly.
You can use the pesticides and it'll kill 99% of them, but that 1% that is immune to it will live and prosper, and then they'll have babies, and then soon they're all immune to it.
Exactly. You drown them, and then you get a freaking water roach. I mean, that is how it works. But I'm sending love no matter what you believe in, though there are things empirically. There are right and wrong answers. I love having conversations with everybody, but there are some things they're not my political views. It's just science. You can say whatever, because I love everybody. Speaking of, so viruses have been around for 6,000 years. That's not
since
too
the beginning,
bad.
yeah.
I mean, that's true. Since we've only been here for 6,000 years, since the dawn of time. The same with us riding dinosaurs. I miss us riding dinosaurs. I mean, it was good. It was simpler times back then. And
Never leave home without them, Nick.
Never leave home. And while Pat also says, well, I'm not convinced that God isn't in fact a goddess. I'm definitely sure that Yahweh is a dude. Only a male could be that big of an asshole and use babies as hockey pucks. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Yahweh. I'm going to be just completely honest with everybody. The longer that our Bible study continues, the more that I am not a fan of this Yahweh figure.
He just keeps doubling down. Just when you think he's done the worst, he doubles down.
Exactly. And they will say, why are you so angry at this guy that you don't even believe exists?
They love that. They love that.
And, well, because a third of the population of Earth believe that it's real. And at least half, maybe 60%, believe it's literally real. I mean, how much more of a reason do you need to concern yourself with it than that?
They think he's the good guy.
Is that, just like James said, they think that he's the good guy. I would say they read this and they think he's the good guy. I think the problem is that they don't read this and they think he's the good guy.
They read their sanitized versions of it. They're cherry-picked, as they would like to say. They accuse us of cherry-picking, but they'll cherry-pick the verses that make him sound like a good guy.
Exactly. Well, you read the Sermon on the Mount, but you don't read the Quail Lecture. I would have never heard that passage in a million years if it wasn't for doing something like this, because it doesn't come up. It's not
Jesus feeding the crowds with fish and bread, like Jesus killing the crowds. Like Jesus, imagine there, oh, you guys want some food. You guys want food. Well, we've only got enough food for us, so you guys ain't going to eat. Oh, you want me to do magic and feed you guys?
Yeah, it's you want me to actually take care of you now? What happened to the father figure? They hate that analogy, the whole father figure in the sky, but then they call him father, right? At least in a variety of denominations.
God the Father, yeah. That's
God the Father.
Pretty much universal.
But yes, keep on sending in your comments and tagging us at James W. and myself in at Amy Newman. Woohoo! Saying love to everyone out there. We will say hi to you, but tagging us actually helps us. Hells yeah, we cannot be more honored, says cracking me up tonight. God has an iPod. Look, I feel like Yahweh is living in the 2000s. It's a good era. Probably has a jet ski, just like what's his name from Loki. Hey, if you're God, you might as well have a hot tub, right? You might as well.
Right over hell.
They're not healing the sick. They're not curing the actual blind or amputated, so they must be doing something else, I'll tell you that. Shane says, mingled with oil was the name of my stage act in my 20s. It makes sense. It makes sense.
I mean, look, the Godhead, Father, Son, the Holy Spirit, they're busy. They've got to decide which kids are going to get cancer tomorrow, and that's a big decision. So, I mean, some of them have to get it. They can't just make it go away. So, who's going to pick? It's got to be them.
Well, and the funny thing is that someone on the right side of the pew always seems to have a completely different view from someone on the left side of the pew, and
That
they
too.
all seem to have completely different views from the person in the pew behind them. Isn't it funny how that works out?
Well, and the pastor, he doesn't. As long as they all drop that cash in the plate as it goes by, and it leaves in his back pocket, he's cool with it. They can think what they want to think.
Well, those are the real people that are winning, is the pastors and preachers. So virus has been around. Oh yeah, but we're catching up, ladies.
You gonna pay me six figures?
6,000 years old. It is.
You gonna pay
I
me
always.
6 figures to preach superstition to people?
Well, I swear that's why a lot stay in. I can't tell you why Kent Hovind believes what he believes. I can't tell you why. I could probably tell you what happens
He's already
after
said he's
he
never
has
going to
been
get a real
told.
job.
After he's been told by people that are way more educated than all of us, and it doesn't matter what the truth is, because his presupposition is that God is real. The Christian God is real. I don't want to
And his
use the
version of it.
Jado-Christian. I know, because that's all their nonsense. Is the Holy Spirit a booster seat? That's right, baby. You just
Is he
put
a
the Holy
booster
Spirit right under you. Woohoo! Sending you love, Roger.
Thank you. Would the Holy Spirit want you to get a booster shot? Probably not. Seems like a dick.
Yes. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like he'd want you to inject the Holy Spirit, but that may be something different as we dance around on our polls. What were we talking about? All right, we're almost done comments, and then we're going back in. Pat says they may be calling him father. Oh my, but what they really want to call that big hunk of man is the sky is Big Daddy. I know. That's what I assume. And once again, they make fun of us for teasing them about this, but they believe they're having a personal relationship. And I know, I mean, I was a theist up into my teenage years, way conscious and sentient and having hopes and dreams and all this stuff. And there must have been a time that I believed there was someone else that I was talking to. And so just be real with yourself. If it's going to be a father figure, if you're going to have a personal relationship with someone that I assume is up, the joke is they never look down, well, then that is kind of a little bit of a sky daddy. Just saying. Just saying.
Although they hate that.
Woohoo! What is up, soldiers? Sending love. We are sending love to all of you out there as once again we break into more of this amazingness. And all right, let's get back to cooking with Yahweh. Once again, this is a text that cannot be edited or added to. I mean, this is Scripture. This is the inspired word of a God. So 1/10 deal of one lamb. Oh, we got this. And 7 lambs spread all over like an altar. Not creepy at all. And 1 kid of the goats. Oh no, not Fred. Why Fred? For a sin offering. That's kind of a weird thing to do with a goat. I'm not gonna judge, I guess. It's the desert, but to make an atonement for you. Whatever you're in. Okay, besides the burnt offering of the month, which I ordered again and again, it's always well done, and his hot, sexy meat offering, I assume, and the daily burnt offering. What a
lot of
weird God. I just love how you need to have a burnt offering. Is this an offering? Nah, we have to burn it. Oh, okay. Makes way more sense now.
Doesn't it make more sense,
Of
Amy? Come on.
course. And his hot, sexy meat offering, I'm gonna have to, I don't know, I'm gonna need a mixed drink offering for that. According onto their manner, I bet you would. For a sweet and savor sauce, I would like barbecue. I would like ketchup. Don't skimp. I saw you trying to skimp. You could give more than 3 packets. A sacrifice made by everything was good until the Fire Nation attacked onto the Lord.
Do we got strange fire? Hopefully not.
I will say, don't put strange fire in front of God. Don't hit rocks together. It sounds like a tip your fedora moment. Once again,
More than one, anyway.
God really did kill someone for smacking rocks together. I don't know what to say to that. But he's all perfect. I love how they don't even hedge. Like the Christians go all in. They're like, he's not even perfect, not even moral. He's all perfect, all moral. Really, that's cool. So there's no pain and suffering at all. Fantastic. Well, pain and suffering kind of like snuck in. He was being sneaky, super sneaky. It had sneakers on.
The devil, it's his fault.
The devil.
Satan, he did it.
He did it. Blame it. You always need someone to blame. Need an alibi and someone to blame. Like Satan. I always like how there has to be an adversary. Did there have to be a Satan? Couldn't he just like 86 Satan?
Apparently they didn't think that there really needed to be in the beginning, but they seem to want to add him in at some point. We haven't quite got there yet, because you would think if there was this spirit out there trying to damn us to hell, that it would be one thing God would want us to tell us about right away. This guy's out there trying to supernaturally trick us into worshiping other gods, but we don't get a warning about it yet.
Damn you. You also get the warning system of a Saw victim, which is you get to either do it or you die. So good luck. He's gonna kill you. No, really. I don't know anyone. Moses has the best track record, ladies and gentlemen, of anyone that we have read about. And he's about to die. He has been given a death sentence. He's actually not dead yet. He's just been sentenced to death, I think.
God has told him he will not enter the promised land. And he's going to die before. So this whole journey that they've been going on, and God's saying, you're not going to make it. I'm going to kill you before you get there.
Also, they don't seem to include that on the Disney version or whatever, how cartoon version, Sunday school version.
Don't get me wrong. I'm still going to work you. You're still going to work your ass off for me. I'm still going to keep you alive right now. You're just not going to reach your goals with it.
You're just going to die right before the finish line. But don't worry. I'm sure your people will like do something or another. Joshua will handle it.
I'll bring you to heaven, and you can worship me more after you die.
Wouldn't you want to do that, though, James? I mean, he's all good and all holy and all knowing and all these omnis that actually contradict themselves.
Are you all holy, Amy?
Only sometimes. But always good on my knees. What are we talking about? For a sweet savor. And all right, we're moving down to sacrifices on holy conviction days. I mean, so much wisdom. I'm glad we got through Trumpet Day.
Right? Yeah, Convocation, but close enough.
Do you remember celebrating Trumpet Day, James?
In Messianic Judaism, I remember the Feast of Trumpets, something like that. But...
Ooh, was it something like this?
Something like that. Yeah. It's been a
Okay,
while. It's been like 25
that
years.
is fascinating. I don't remember. These are the ones that I either was sleeping during Hebrew school, or they just didn't go over a lot of this stuff. They pick very specific passages. My new thing is have a Bible study with the atheists, because the theists will often ask you, "Come on, have a Bible study. It'll make complete sense. Just read this one video. Have a Bible
so
study with a skeptic."
go to this verse here. Now go 6 pages over and read only this verse. Now go 8 pages back.
Exactly.
Read only these 2 verses. Then skip ahead to the next book and read only this one verse. And then it all makes sense.
Well, I will say it makes a great cafeteria when you're having just a lovely pick of your religion. Sometimes you just need to pick your verses. Soldier of Science is saying Trumpet Day is every day in the South. I am sending love to our Southern brothers and sisters. Even though I do love ribbon, I will say I do love ribbon. I do have my Union pride, but I actually love our Southern brothers and sisters, and Southern cooking.
We love you
say
too.
so.
But anyway, about taking the Bible in proper context. You know, what that means is when you see something in the Bible that makes God sound mean, what you got to do is you got to be intellectual about it. You take a few hundred verses before and a few hundred verses after that, and hopefully somewhere in there you'll find something that sounds good. And if you're really optimistic, you know that good is better than bad. Good always wins in the end, so that makes it okay.
Exactly. That's how you know that when might is right, at least, especially with biblical morality.
Might make right, because hey, he can kill you, Amy. He can. I mean,
Oh,
what are you gonna do about it?
He put us into Egypt. He can take your butt out of it. Apparently, as to remind us over and over and over.
Wait, you thought I was going to take you out and provide food for you guys? I brought you out to worship me. I didn't bring you out to feed you guys. Now you want me to poof food out of nothing for you guys? Lazy ass former slaves.
Want everything. These freaking Israelites.
They want to eat?
They eat? Next, they're going to be asking for water. I mean, come on. And all right, sacrifices on holy convection days, because this has to be in. We cannot edit this. Why else would we have such wisdom if it was not the impeding wisdom of a God? If this was not from right up there.
Praise his holy name.
Praise. And ye shall have on the 10th day of the 7th month. Oh, we're picking our calendar back up. All right. And holy convection. You could have just said on this day we're going to have pie day or cake day, but okay.
Demon
day. And ye shall afflict your soul stones, Thanos. Ye shall not do any work therein. Oh, okay. He has like a big deal of when you're working and when you're not working.
Yeah.
Like, dude, get over it. This and bacon, these are the things you're going to argue about? Okay, whatever. But ye shall offer a burnt offering, and my goddess, I will kick the cook himself if it is well done. If it's raw, apparently, because I want a burnt offering unto the Lord bomb for... they didn't put enough sweet and savor sauce in here. Could someone check for sweet and savor sauce?
I'm sorry, God. We just ran out. Don't kill me, please, God. Please don't kill me.
You know what? I hate to do this, but, strange fire, 2 rocks hitting together, and not enough sweet and savor sauce. I'm sorry. It's logic. Got this. But yes.
It's moral.
It's moral. That's right. Perfect. Perfectly moral. I don't even understand how you could argue with it. But we're also, as I yell into the microphone, 1 young Sandra Bullock, 1 Dodge Ram. We heard this. Is this like your greatest hits? And 7 lambs. Pew, 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 pew. But also with a fabulous sparkly dress. They shall be unto you without blemish. If I see a blemish, I'm going to freak the out. Just telling you.
Oh God, I totally did not see that blemish. I'm so sorry, God.
I'm so sorry. Pat says the problem with our Southern brothers and sisters is that they are also your cousins, aunts, and uncles. You live in the South when your family tree is a shrub. Well, I will say, just going for the argument from incest is wincest that the Bible seems to make is that the Bible seems to be okay with incest in 2 very specific stories in Adam and Eve and Noah, because I don't really understand. Lot. Yeah, and Lot. I don't understand how in these fables, how else you get humans, other animals. How'd the other animals? You just needed 2? Well, if you just needed 2, I hate to tell you this, but you need to then make other animals.
Well, you see, God magically made it so that the genetics of those 2 would not be harmed by the inbreeding. And he did that for, I don't know, maybe a few dozen generations, and then he took that away so that after that the inbreeding would cause problems, but he made it so that it would not cause problems for a while, because what else were they going to do, Amy?
This reminds me of when God put fossils in the dirt so that we would make us think that evolution was real.
Well, if you know in the New Testament it says that God will send a strong delusion to make people believe a lie. And if you remember in the Old Testament, where God hardened Pharaoh's heart, so God is not immune from influencing what you think, your beliefs, your actions.
God does thought crimes all the time. If sinning is just lusting, is just
he's all about the thought crime.
Thoughts that you then don't do, then it's all about thought crime.
Yeah.
But yes, keep on sending those comments in. Tag James W. and myself and Amy Newman, and we will show all of the lovely wisdom, quoting this lovely wisdom right here, because it definitely makes sense. But yes, welcome back to Cooking with Yahweh. It's always good to be in. I guess we should enjoy it while he's just killing other animals. I feel bad for the other animals, but maybe Yahweh just likes ribs. I don't know. Ugh. And their meat offering, which was thick and juicy, shall be of flour mingled with oil. I mean, this is straight up cookbook shit. I love it. 3/10 to deal of a Sandra Bullock, and then 2/10 of 1 Dodge Ram. Makes sense. We're just going to need to cut that Dodge Ram in half. That's all Sandra says she needs. I don't know. That's all that's going to get her there. A several tenth deal for 1 lamb chop. Oh, no. Throughout the 7 lambs that we've apparently put over this book. It talks weirdly more about altars than you would expect from the good guy. I'm not saying that the people spreading blood over altars aren't the good guys. I'm just saying, not a good track record.
It seems strange and omnipotent God would need all that, but
it seems a little strange. And so Shane says, so many blemishes. Do they make proactive for lambs so they can clear up their complexion? It's true. I feel like if you're an Israelite and you've been dragging the Sandra Bullock through the desert, you know, they're high heels, which it's hard, not a lot of moisture, probably doesn't even have any clips left. And so really you're going to need some proactive to clear things up before you get her into that God, or that God's going to complain. I feel like it'd be a fantastic pitch thousands of years ago.
Definitely.
Boom. And then John Q. Smith, Send in Love, says, you do know the difference between Old and New Testament. Why, yes, I do. And just like your girlfriend learning how to play a guitar, this is the time when I have to announce that I actually come from a Jewish background and used to read the Torah for many, many, many years. I don't want to say against my will because they gave me chocolate. So, I mean, it was a good Monday, good Saturday once a month. And so I am enjoying going through what I would consider the Torah portion of the Christian Bible as we go through the King James Version. I also understand the New Testament, or what I would say the gospel, the good news. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here to give you good news. Now, my good news would be I offer skepticism for both of those religions. My message, I would implore that there are no chosen people. And I understand that the Christians and the Muslims may also be saying this and saying, just convert, baby doll. It'll be great. But I also don't believe that there are humans that communicate one-on-one with God. Now, I could be wrong. And I am welcoming all my theist brothers to join us. In fact, there will be an open mic at the end. But if you don't want to join the open mic, because I know all these streams, they're like, oh, the hate and side chat, come on. And while that would be fun and you're always invited, feel free to keep on tagging us at Amy Newman, James W., and myself. And
we realized that people thought that the Old Testament was a little harsh, but they decided to make it a little softer, a little lighter, a little more palatable in the New Testament. You know, but you really have a hard time explaining how God would just change his nature kind of on a dime.
You got therapy.
Yeah. From a humanistic standpoint, it just makes a lot more sense because just
and
making it
they
more
update
palatable.
Some things. And I would say they made it more palatable for the people of the time. I am not a fan of like hell and just all sorts of like forever punishment and notions.
Yeah.
I don't even like the concept of an afterlife. And so I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying there isn't. I don't see the point. I struggle as someone who is obsessed with consciousness, but who isn't? To find a reason why we would live on after death. And thus that carrot is not a good one for me, but I'm open-minded.
I mean, it's similar to the evolution we see today. So New Testament Christianity was palatable for a while. It's really not palatable anymore because we see Christians becoming accepting of homosexuality and being less stringent on lots of things. Marriage and divorce, they're not so stringent on anymore because following the book to the letter is not palatable. So they don't have a New Testament. They're just kind of picking and choosing which ones they think are mandatory.
And access to information is getting harder are easier and easier. And so staying in these religions, I believe, is going to continue to be harder and harder.
At least staying in them while being aware of everything, unless you're willfully ignorant.
And John Q. Smith says, obvious that we are all inbred, even in evolution. Are you that short-sighted? I would say that we have populations that have mixed. Evolution doesn't really favor inbreeding. You could have that in stress-like situations. It generally favors the mixing of genes. Not always, but generally.
I think he's trying to say, like, if you go back to the Luca, the last universal, that we are all related to, and that branching off of that, there had to be inbreeding because that was the only organism that was around.
We do have ancestors, but that's because the other branchers died off, and we're just that one branch that lived. But it's not the same as one man, one woman. It is not the same as one alligator and a second alligator and a third giraffe and a fourth giraffe. Like, that is not how this works, because they die. I don't think there's enough genetic diversity. It's nice to think in a clean programming sense it would work, like on a computer. I don't think you'd have enough genetic diversity. I'd be interested to run that experiment, but I think you'd end up with a lot of death. Whether eventually you get a viable species out of that death, but it'd be ugly, and let me tell you, it'd look nothing like it would be recorded in the Bible.
I mean, it's a ridiculous story anyway, just being as kind as possible to it. It's, yeah.
Well, they're fables. They look like fables. They sound like fables. If it looks and talks, I mean, the funny thing is they know that each other's religions are fables. It's just their own. I mean, that's the true inspired word of God.
It's something that you almost would have had to have come across as a child, because, and even the Bible will tell you, it wants you to believe this with childlike faith. Just you hear it, you believe it, you don't question it, as if it's your mommy or your daddy telling you Santa's coming when you're 5 years old, and you believe it because your mom and dad told you. But once you of course, then once you realize that that doesn't sort of make sense anymore, the adults stop reinforcing the lie, and you come to accept that it's not true. Except religion, the lies are just continuously reinforced over and over again. Nobody tells you that, hey, he's not real.
Woo-hoo. And I see more comments, but I want to mix it in as we read our Skeptics Bible Annotated Bible Study, which is a version of the King James Version. We are reading Numbers chapter 29. We're having some fun in a Yahweh cookbook because, and I guess at least we're starting to order drinks. All right. So we need, and one goat for a sin offering. Once again, not judging, but besides the continual burnt offering. Is that continental? Continual? That's continual burnt. I'm going to be honest with you. I was going back and forth. Are we really having a continental breakfast here? I guess so. He likes it burnt. He likes it well. He doesn't want a single germ, okay? See the pink? I'm going to make a stink to your manager. And his meat offering, which was nice and thick. And his drink offering, which I imagine was a blue Slurpee. But, with a little mixed in. And his drink offering. Wait, did you just say and his drink offering and his drink offering? What is this? What is this, and why can't we edit this out of the Bible? This shit makes me infuriated because it makes me sound like I'm repeating myself.
No, you're just reading.
But we can't edit it. Oh, good.
Nope.
I'm
And his drink offering, and his drink offering.
glad to know it. And on the 4th day, 10 Sandra Bullocks ran at us like football players. They were driving in 2 Dodge Rams, and they had 14 lamb chops posted to their grill. By the way, they didn't have a single goddamn blemish. Whew. It's always nice to know when you put in effort. Anyway, the thick, juicy meat offering and their drink offerings with a little for the Sandra Bullocks, for the Dodge Rams, for the Lambs shall be according to their number, because that is the theme of the chapter. After the manner. Good to know. And 1 kid of the goat for a sin offering, so much sin. Besides the continental breakfast that we had a burnt offering, because dude can't even have a steak without offending the cook, but sure. And his meat offering and his drink offering would like to be filled, please. Can I get my drink filled, please? Hoy,
Okay.
Okay.
You can have your drink offering, and your drink offering,
and your drink offering. So much drinks. Yo, God's getting loaded. And we're not even stretching here. I mean, he's offering so many drink offerings. But I'm sure it's for a sacrifice, you know.
Have you seen God's drink specials? Oh, they're to die for.
Literally. Johnny Q says, "You so funny, sending hearts." But Isaiah tried to tell you Jewish folks, yo, Christ is coming.
Yeah, and he
First
must
of
have done
all,
a really crappy job at it for a prophet.
And I just want to say, if Christ is coming, yo, grab your sheets. Just sounds like he was having a much better time than all of us. I hope he had permission. Go out there. Just need to have a good time. My yoga teacher, I just want to say, is fantastic. Jesus has been working on getting me more flexible day in and day out. But we're sending love to everyone out there. And hey, we're open-minded. It's just the second, I mean, how long has it been for that second coming, Jesus? It's been like, I think they've almost made a calendar around it. They've been like 1,000, 2,000 years.
2,000 years.
I don't mean to complain, okay? I'm fashionably late, okay? To everything. Now, I'm not sending haters, God, not trying to hate, but you know, 1,000, 2,000, is it 3,000? After 3,000 years, do I get to complain? Do I get to put 1 star?
Did you see where the complaint department was, though? I mean, I wouldn't recommend it.
That is true. You can find the complaint department right here, baby. Woo! Sometimes you gotta say good night. No. God would never do that. He's the good guy. He is absolutely the good guy. Definitely.
He loves you, Amy, more than you
He
can
loves
even
me.
understand. You
That's
can't
why
even
he wants
understand the
this.
concept of love the way he does.
I apparently don't. I apparently don't know how to logic without Christianity.
Or do even basic math.
Yeah, I don't know how you would maths without Christianity. Though that does make you wonder how they did it for all those years before Jesus.
They must have been doing it wrong. Or they only were able to do it because of common grace. That's a dispensation of grace that God has given to all mankind so that they can use his attributes even if they don't believe he exists. Because he's just that cool. He's just that kind.
God's pretty fly for, I would say, a guy, because I would give him skin color, but that's really the only thing that the Bible wants to make clear, is that he has flinging, hanging genitals. for some reason. Yeah.
Big. Very well
Mhm.
endowed.
Very well endowed. In fact, they had one goat for a sin offering, besides the continental burnt offering, which was, it was fantastic. You should try the meatloaf. And his meat offering and his drink offering. Okay, good. I'm glad we got as many meat and drink offerings as we could. Whew. This guy is thirsty.
He had a coupon. It's okay.
He had a coupon. Hey, you gotta spend it when you can. Speaking of, Pat says, I'll convert to Christianity for the open chat portion of the show. Way to go. Then kick my own ass afterwards for being so credulous as believing all that BS. See, now you're making sense. You just need to turn off this lobe right here, and we will be doing good. Remember, this God loves you. He loves you so much that he will torture you forever.
I mean, Amy's not hating on people who have had lobotomies, but
especially if it's Harley Quinn. I mean, I can't hate on the girl who gave me the bat, okay? But generally speaking, God's complaint department is you going behind me and you're going to burn, burn, burn forever. I don't think humans understand the concept of forever. I mean, I don't know how we could, because we are finite beings. But it's just so easy to say, sure, we'll kill. Just think of all the horrible people, and they're going to burn forever. But what about the people that are just on the line? Or like they did good things, but they didn't worship God, so they're going to forever?
yeah,
forever. Have to let
I don't
Overlord
think there's
Kitty-
any amount of. I don't think there's any amount of crime, any amount of evil you could do that would justify burning forever. I mean, even the worst human beings
Can't
alive,
imagine
I don't think I could stand by and let them burn for 30 seconds without wanting to put them out of their misery. I wouldn't get anything out of just watching them writhe in pain for a little bit longer.
You would actually have to like pain and torture for you to deal with that job. Or you're actually torturing the devil, in which case it then goes back onto the back of God. Don't know which way you slice it. It's got to go back to the big G-man, except, when you don't want it to, apparently. And on the 6th day of Christmas,
Yeah.
8 Sandra Bullocks once again got into Dodge Rams. I think they were trying to outlast the zombies. Vroom, vroom, vroom. They had once again the 14 Rams of the first year, not the second year. If you give me the second year, I'm going to put a blemish all over this. I'm going to put a blemish on you. Ugh, everybody's so picky.
Don't blemish on the sheets.
All right. And for the very sexy meat offering and their drink offerings, we offer a combo deal if you'd like for the Sandra Bullocks. It's actually a lovely package. The Sandra Bullocks love it. For the Dodge Rams when they're driving. For the lambs attached to the Dodge Rams.
So
Shall
like
be
the Slurpee
according.
and hot dog combo.
Yes, it is. Why, yes, it is. To their manner, after their manner. Fantastic. It makes sense. And one goat. Just one, not two. I'm just okay on the goat. I wanted all those Sandra Bullocks, but apparently just one goat. For a sin offering. Once again, buddy. Besides the continental burnt offering, I mean, of course I want that. That's like bacon on the side. Do you want eggs? Of course I want eggs. Oh, God. His meat offering, which was nice and thick, and his drink offering. Slurpy derpy derp. Yeah, I feel like God is going to pop at a certain point. How much food, how much drink do you need? Just go to a buffet. Go to a buffet. Get it out of your system.
He'll be like the king that ate himself to death, having like 17 orders of his favorite dessert till he died.
Rah. John Key Smith says, no hate here. Sending love right back at you. God tried to teach us through man and prophecy. So
Well,
I'm interested
he's doing
in the
a bad
man
job.
part. Well, I'm interested what the man part is. As in, like, because man and prophecy, if you're basically saying prophets and the prophets that give those prophecy, I am not a big fan. I do not think the people. I don't think Moses existed. I think I have to say this. I'm in between on Jesus. This is where Jesus has to. This pops up. Goes, Jesus is a myth. I have to hashtag that. Tangang yo.
Always.
But I'm convinced Muhammad was a real person.
Too, also.
Yep, and James leads towards the mythicist. I think that it doesn't matter because Muhammad, I believe, was real, and I don't think that he was a human or he was a reptile. No, that's my family. No, I don't think that he was a prophet or talking one-on-one with God. And so the same reason why I don't think that Islamic prophets and answered prophecy within the Quran don't explain their God, I would say it's the same with all gods. Though we're open-minded, we are open-minded. And we're going down, but then we're moving through chapter 29 of Numbers, the fourth book of the Bible. Pat says, just in the way of clarification, the translation of drink offering refers to libations of the ritualistic pouring out of a liquid as an offering or as a preparatory offering. Oh, I'm sure there's an intellectual reason. Here's the thing, though. Either way, it's still a little creepy. But you're right. They're probably doing some sort of liquid offering to them. They were probably not getting martinis. Though
Pouring a shot
was,
over somebody's grave.
Shot. I feel like if I were God, I would want a Long Island iced tea over lamb's blood. But, we all have our thing.
Served by Sandra Bullock.
Served by Sandra Bullock. And we're sending love to everybody in chat. And we are moving along. That's right. And all right, on the seventh day of Christmas.
We love to see you.
7 Sandra Bullocks. It just sounds like a sci-fi movie, like a comedy sci-fi. Just 7 different Sandra Bullocks are now just running around trying to save both the universe and Christmas.
And LA.
Yeah. All at once. But yeah, 7 Sandra Bullocks in their finest, still driving 2 Dodge Rams and 14 lambs of the first year. They were still without blemish. We get it. Oh my God.
And the protagonist is, of course, John Travolta in full Battlefield Earth regalia.
Boy, vey. And their hot, thick meat offering. And of course, their, I guess I'll have a Bloody Mary offering for the Sandra Bullocks on the rams with the lambs shall be according to their number. Theme of the night, ladies and gentlemen. Theme of the whole chapter. We just count things. Because why not?
After their manner. Does that say manner?
After their manner. It does. Gotta have your manners. The only thing that's free, James. The only thing. And 1 goat for a sin offering. Just reminds me of something like South Park. They're looking at a beautiful goat and they're like, oh my God, he's so beautiful. And then a knife comes by and they're like, what? What? And, of course, blood and screaming follows. But, No, this is the good guy. You're killing the animal because God loves you. Oof. Besides, the continental breakfast with the well-done offering with his thick meat sausage and his martini offering are fantastic. 4 out of 5 stars.
Better be 5 out of 5. You do not want to be the guy who rates God under 5 stars.
Yeah, I would not want to be that guy.
He has his rating is infinity out of 5 stars.
And it's, once again, I love the Omnis, the all-powerful, all-knowing, all-seeing creator of the universe. Because that guy is waiting around for us. Waiting around. Just doing nothing. Can't wait to hang out. And listen, ladies and gentlemen, I love you. But I get the feeling that the guy watching 24/7, 365, who once again cares what you put up your tuchus, I'm a little skeptical. But what is up, Hannah?
Hey guys, hey Hannah.
We are having fun tonight. In fact, we are having
Putting
a
stuff up
biblically
Amy's
good
tuchus.
time. We are. And I like to think it's kosher. Don't put anything up there that's not kosher. Whew. But
Hebrew
we're
National.
a Hebrew National. But we're about to move through the end of the chapter of Numbers 29. On the 8th day,
Of Christmas.
of Christmas. They're getting fancy. These fucking kids get everything. How many days of Christmas do you need? Ye shall have a solemn assembly. Ye shall do no servile work therein. Because God is really obsessed with Sabbaths and you not working and all this shit. When you should be spending time worshiping Him.
Basically, yeah, you can't be doing anything that's of any benefit to you or anybody else. You've got to waste your time sucking Him off.
Exactly. Look, you got more important things to do, and it's worshiping God forever.
I mean, what else would you rather be doing?
James, what could you possibly do except for cheesecake? And let's see. I don't want to miss one drop. But ye shall offer a burnt sacrifice. You want no well done. I ordered ketchup and well done. And I want a sacrifice made by everything was good until the Fire Nation attacked. And I kind of want a sweet and savor sauce. I don't think it's really a lot to ask. I feel like the sweet and savor sauce is going to be your token sauce. You should kind of have the sweet and savor sauce. On to the Lord. Bob, we're going to need only the one Sandra Bullock that survived. I mean, that's how it happens in every horror movie. She's driving a single Dodge Ram with only 7 lambs on her grill, but they're not blemished. I mean, come on. You know how she works.
Perfect lamb chops.
Perfect lamb chops.
Not like, it's fucking raw. It's fucking raw.
Ugh. You're going to give this to me raw? But yes, they're juicy, tender, thick meat offerings, succulent, and their drink offerings, which, well, I like a good happy hour for that one lonely Sandra Bullock driving the Dodge Ram with the lamb, shall be according to their number. That's right. That's right. But only after the manner, never before. Sup, Fecknell? That's right. We just ate a very lovely penguin. I feel like almost anything is on the menu when it comes to God.
Just about. For
just
sacrifice.
about. And I don't know why, but we have to just kill it and give it to an all-powerful creator of the universe. That's what you do with animals, I assume.
Yeah,
But then the
that's what
theist is
God
always
wants.
like, don't you eat animals? Don't you eat? You're not a vegan. You're not. Yeah, but that is also the circle of life,
You're
and
not a
eventually
deity.
the animals will eat us, and we're not a deity. There are many reasons. I wish that didn't have to be,
It's like
nonetheless.
you mentioned before, the concept like, why food? Why create beings that are constantly
Yeah,
dependent on taking
constant
other
cycle.
forms of
Yeah.
life all the time and shoving it in their mouth so they don't die?
Well, it's a constant cycle of death,
Right.
and so didn't have to be that way. There could have been
No.
other ways, I imagine.
If you were an omnipotent being, yeah.
And all right. And for one goat for a sin offering, I can only imagine, besides the continental burnt offering. Ooh, ooh. You gotta burn it? You gotta burn this offering? Ah. And his sexy meat offering. Oh my. Okay. You got one more drink, and then we're tapping you out. Tapping you out of your drink offerings.
God
These
is really
things.
drunk.
How many drinks he's had? I would tap him out. These things ye shall do, Kinky, unto the Lord Bob in your set of feast, besides your vows. Oh my. It's like a preview. Thank you, Bible, for the next chapter. And your free will offerings, which is a funny. I love a free will offering. Do we have to
Free
give it?
Willy.
Well, yes, but it's a free will offering. For your burnt offerings, or were the other ones not of your own free will? And for your sexy, plump, sausage grade, lovely meat offerings. And also I'll take 4 drink offerings, please. In fact, drink offerings on the
A
house.
happy hour special.
Happy hour special for everyone. And for your peace offerings. Can we give a peace? A little bit of peace? And
Peace.
Moses told the children of the corn of Israel, Smishmael, according to all that the Lord Bob had commanded our main man, Charlton
Oh,
Heston.
thank you, Charlton.
Thank you. No, this makes so much sense. Thank you. And if you didn't, I mean, the last few sentences. Offer 1 bullock, 1 ram, 7 unblemished first-year lambs as a burnt offering, sweet and savor to me, along with a meat and a drink offering. Also, sacrifice a young goat for a sin offering, along with a drink offering. Do all these things for me. And Moses told the Israelites all the things that God commanded. I mean, it really is that straightforward, ladies and gentlemen. We've been taking takeout, lady. Been having some good food, but I feel bad for the Israelites.
Yes, it sucks to be them.
And all right, with that, we are moving into Numbers chapter 30, and then we are heading into our open mic as we read Numbers chapter 29 and 30. Whew, what a lovely chapter, James. But did you
What a
enjoy that
wonderful
menu? Good
I
appetizers.
would be proud to serve that menu. Yeah. Any restaurant would be proud to have that menu.
It just baffles me because, once again, this is the word of God. So you can't edit it. You can't shorten it. You can't add to it.
No.
You can't even amend it, as our lovely Constitution has, and many constitutions do. You can't even change it.
The only thing you can do is cherry pick it, and that's what they're good at.
Sup, Doc? And no, I could definitely understand a snack offering. Now we're starting to understand, talking my language here.
Ah, yeah, like the free will offering. Oh, look, the Bible says free will.
But all right, this is a shorter chapter, a dessert, if you would say.
And we don't have
After
any
our, that's
categories.
right, there aren't any categories for this one, which is rare. I don't think we've ever had that before.
They
But,
always have at least one.
but wait. Oh, hold on. A contradiction.
The Iran-Contra.
In the
The
Bible. James, that's what I was thinking too, but apparently
Iran-Contra scandal.
that's what I thought. But apparently there is an actual contradiction in the Bible. That doesn't make sense. We're going to have to really pay attention because I can't imagine the Bible ever contradicting itself.
That would be really strange, wouldn't it?
It would be. And
Like strange fire, kind of strange.
Exactly.
That would be some strange fire, yeah. Oh, here we get to the
Actually,
vows.
I am going to send the link into stream so we can start to queue people up for our open mic as we read Numbers chapter 30.
Let's do it.
And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. The link is going into the interwebs. And we're going to continue onward. It seems that there is a contradiction in the Bible. I can't believe it in Numbers chapter 30. Vows for men. Well, I'm sure the men and women are treated equally because, I mean, this was a book beyond its time.
It stood the test of time.
Exactly. It's objective.
Other books come and go, and they fall out of use, and nobody reads them anymore. But this one just keeps on going, like the Energizer Bunny.
That's right. And all right, Numbers chapter 30. And when Charlton Heston spat all over onto the heads, I feel like I know where this is going, but of the tribes. Oh.
Hey, he's all out of his bottle is empty. He's gotta work with what he's got available.
You gotta work with what you got. James, you gotta
spit on it.
Use so you don't lose. And all right, concerning the children of the corn of Israel, Shmishmael, saying, this is the thing from the movie. Isn't that cool? Do you want his autograph? Which the Lord Bob hath commanded. Oh my. And if a man vow a vow, which if a man worded a
vow
word
is used as a verb and a noun.
You gotta fit those words in as much as you can.
If you vow a
vow, vow onto me, baby. Onto the Lord Bob, or swear an oath.
Drink, yeah.
Do you oath? I was gonna say, do you oath an oath? Swear an oath. And bind his soul stone to Thanos' gauntlet with a James Bond. He shall not break his word. Never. Girl, he would never. He shall do according. He can't. I always love that claim. My favorite claim is God cannot lie. Because that's so stupid. That's so, I shouldn't say stupid. But it's so obviously silly. Like, I can't even wrap my head around it. Like, and then they'd say, well, then it instantly becomes whatever he says. Does it? He can't just say that the world is, the sky is green. He can't just say that, that I'm holding up 4 fingers. He can't do that while I'm literally holding up 3. It just seems odd
5 lights.
that, I mean, it means that God is stuck in liar, liar, but then it manifests. It's
Yeah.
just a weird scenario. I mean, sell it to Hollywood, but I don't think you're going anywhere. All right, weird. Whoa, I can't say proceedeth out of his mouth. Let me not skip that. Oh man. Whew. According to
This is a PG-13 rated show, Amy. Come on.
I'm trying to keep it fancy, James. I'm trying to. Or swear an oath and bind his soul stone with Thanos through the James Bond. He shall not break his word. Once again, so freaking silly. Girl, he lying to you. He lying. He shall do according to all that proceedeth out of his mouth. Oh, hey, tell him to swallow. And all right, which I'm sure are going to be the totally fair vows for women. Totally. But yes.
The
just
women
a
have to
big-
vow a vow too.
Vow a vow. Vow a vow, a female vow.
Yep.
But just
There we go.
another big scooping of one category. The Bible loves to be feminist. We all know how the Bible was a feminist icon for thousands of years. Makes sense. Really does. As we go into vows for women,
Yep.
if a woman also vow a vow, I'll have a vow, please. Oh, thank you. On to the Lord Bob. Now it's
By
getting
a vow.
better. By a vow. And bind herself by a James Bond. Ooh. Being in her father's house in her youth. Yeah, there you just. And her father hear her vow.
Look at that.
You're gonna vow a vow, and her James Bond, wherewith she hath bound her soul stone, and her father, Luke, I am apparently your father, and I didn't say those words, just said I am your father. Search your soul, you know it's true. Something close to that. And her father shall hold his peace, peace, at her, and then all her vows shall stand. Would you like to guess the word then? Would you like to guess the sentence? If you have that many vowels, you might as well guess the sentence.
Yeah. You should be able to get it. The jackets come off.
The jacket is coming off. As I hack, but get some, once again, sugar water. Sponsored once again by Sugar Water. As we read Numbers chapter 23, it's true. Words of wisdom. Words of wisdom. And sending love to everyone out there in chat. Oh, that was so much wisdom that he had to get recruited by Satan. Damn. But I will say James is one of the best sellers in hell. There's just a lovely Lake of the Damned that I like to think, really has some good ambiance when people are screaming. And welcome back. Like I said, our number one
Some people
seller
are saying
in hell.
it's the most wisdom.
The most. I wouldn't say all wisdom, because then we'd have to change ourselves. We got to adjust our syllogisms for the time. So maybe just the most wisdom. Just like the most girl dick. That's what I like to think.
The most amount possible. Maximal girl dick.
Maximal, maybe the ultimate. But yes.
Is that your ultimate?
That is my ultimate. We are also looking into vows for women. I'm sure it's going to be fine. I'm sure everyone is going to be okay.
Ladies
in
will
Numbers
be well taken care
chapter
of.
30, as they always are in the Bible.
God has your best interests at heart.
That's right. Just follow God. Oh, my. But if her father disallow her in the day that he heareth not any of her vows, or of her bonds, James' bonds, wherewith she hath bound her soul stone to Thanos, shall stand, and the Lord Bob shall forgive her, because her father disallowed her. Excuse me, let's get some context. So, if an unmarried woman vows a vow to God, and her father hears her vow and does not object, then she must keep it. But if her father disapproves of her vow is invalid.
Oh,
We see where the hierarchy begins. And if she had at all a single husbandu, when she vow a vow, or uttered out of her lips, wherewith she bound her soul stone, and her husband heard it. What if her husband didn't hear it? And held his peace at her, oh my, in the day that he heard it. Okay, we're getting spicier. Then her vows shall stand. Stand, vows, stand. And her bonds, James' bonds, wherewith she bound her soul, shall stand it. So if a married woman vows a vow to God, and her husband hears her vow and does not object, then she must keep it. Oh, there we go. We're getting back to our biblical
well, she
morality.
vowed the vow.
Can't vow a vow. Gotta take a consonant. But if her husband disallowed her on the day, not on the night, but on the day that he heard it, then he shall make her vow, which she vowed in vowerland, and that which she uttered with her lips, wherewith she bound her soul stone and collected all of them to rule the universe, but of none effect. Wow, Loki is true. It's biblical, ladies and gentlemen. Makes sense. And the Lord Bob
Maximal
shall
truth.
forgive her. Maximal truth. Oh, I'm glad God's forgiving you. How nice. But every vow and end of a widow and of her that is divorced, wherewith they have bound the soul stones, shall stand against her. Once again, this is the good guy. That's how you know. And if she vowed in her husband's house, look, she gets lonely too, or bound her soul by a James bond with an oath that she oathed.
Of an oath.
Of an oath. And her
To an
husband
oath.
heard it, to an oath, and held his peace in her. I mean, it sounds hot. I mean, it was a good music video when you had a D in a box. I'm not saying it's not a good present, but I'm just saying, just make sure she's into that kind of thing. That's all I'm saying. And disallowed her. Wait, we're talking about mother and we're talking about father. Getting a little Games of Thrones. And every bond wherefore she bound her soul stone, though that didn't seem to matter in some biblical passages. But if her husband hath utterly made them void, utterly, just like utterly all over the place, void on the day he heard them, then whatsoever proceeded out of her lips concerning her vows, or concerning the bond, James Bond, of her soul stone, shall not stand. I shall not stand for this. Her husband made them void. Like you looked into the void and you saw the coming nothingness? Or like just you made them kind of, you were looking over the toilet. All right, either way. And the Lord Bob shall forgive her. How nice of you. What did all of that we just read? But if her husband disapproves of her vow is invalid. How nice. But James, come on. Gotta understand. this was the contextual society of the time. All the other civilizations were looking at, how could we be modernists with your modernism? I mean,
Very
with all
judgmental,
of
right?
those, yeah, with all of those Eastonisms, how can you be so judgmental? Come on, James.
I don't know.
We can't be judging it with our modern eyes, our modern fisheye eyes. Yet we do.
Well, we do.
Yet we do. And all right, we're going to read this little bit left, and then we are going to do
Yay.
about 30 minutes of open mic before we move into our Discord after show. But with that, the link is set into chat. I'm going to be sending it one more time and
We
sending
got
it
Soldier
on to
back there, I
screen.
think.
But we do have Soldier of Science behind, which means we are going into open mic when we get done, ladies and gentlemen. But I am sending love. And I would say we tend to give priority to theists. It's always a little bit hard.
Usually.
That's what she said or he said. Because, it's a skeptic channel. We naturally have more agnostic, atheist, anti-theist. Nonetheless, we actually prefer people who disagree with us. So come on the channel. I'll clean the sheets up afterwards.
She'll lick them clean.
I'm that kind of gal. See, you took the words out of my mouth. Every vow, not half off vows. I see you trying to buy discount vows down the street. And every binding oath. It just sounds like a video game sometimes. I can't help it. To afflict the soul stone. It does. Every binding oath. I can't tell if it's a paladin or it's like a dark game where you're collecting souls. A little bit of both. Her husband may establish it, but not the wife. Or her husband may make it void. How nice. But if her husband altogether hold his peace and it go dingle dangle. What are we talking about? At her from day to day. Then he establisheth all her vows. Thank you. Or all her bonds. James bonds. Which are upon her. I know. Please get it off me. I get it. He cometh. Oh, I'm sorry. He confirmeth. Close enough. Because he held his peace. See? Okay. Come on.
He held his peace.
I was right the first time, if you're talking about that. At her in the day that he heard them. Confirm it. Confirm it all over the place. But if he shall anyways make them void. I just had so much. You're going to make me void as I look into the void. It's okay. I've tried acid too. I understand. After that, he hath heard them. Good. Good for him. Then he shall bear hands? No. Just bear it. Her inequity. Okay. Every oath that a wife takes requires her husband's approval. Oh.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
Once again, it's good to know that the Bible treated women as, what was the word? I keep on, it's the H word, humans. Oh, that's right.
Newman.
But once again, they tell us this is the book that lasts till the end of time. This is the inspired word of God. I don't know. Doesn't seem like it to me. Seems a little bit fallible. Seems like a book written by a bunch of dudes. Written and inspired by dudes. But
maybe God just made it look that way
knows?
so you would reject it.
That's right. He was just trying to trick us, just like the fossils. Sup, Afro-human ass. Ooh. I don't know. It just seems like you would expect a holy book, something that came from the creator of the universe, to be a little bit better, a little
little
bit
more
more
holy.
impressive. And I know they're like, who are you to judge? I'll be honest, we're, along with the other animals, the only conscious creatures that we know about. So we're actually the only people that can judge. Good luck with that, though. As far as we know.
Yeah.
And all right, we're pulling
Last verse.
into the last verse and then going into the open mic with the link right below. Come join us for some Skeptic Bible fun, as we've been having so much wisdom with Numbers chapter 29 and 30, Sacrificial Vows. Oh my. But okay, Numbers 30, passage 16. These are the statues, the whimpering widows from Doctor Who. Trying to remember their exact names, but they're scary as hell, ladies and gentlemen. You can't stare at them, or you can't blink. Which the Lord
Don't
Bob,
blink.
yeah, don't blink. Which I guess is the opposite. Some monsters and mythological, you need to not look at them. You need to maybe avert your eyes, and then the others you need to not blink and you need to stare. They got both grounds covered, ladies and gentlemen. I actually like mythological creatures. I like mythological structure and fables, and I'm a big Doctor Who fan. And so I just don't like it when it becomes literal. In fact, it ruins
The danger.
it.
Yep.
Danger, Will Robinson. That is the danger. What is up, doorknob head?
Hey, doorknob.
Yeah. Written by men for men. And I know there may be some conservative religious person out there. My plea to you is just egalitarian. Just please understand that this is not equal. That this is,
No.
some of us are more equal than others. And if you appreciate freedom, my olive branch to you is just please see that this was written at a time when there were lessers in the eyes of the people who had control.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as Randolph says, written by sexist men. And I'm not impressed. Like, it really, I understand you can mine this every once in a while for a nugget, but what about the Sermon on the Mount? And they do all this stuff.
No.
Okay, fine. But if you have to, if it's 97% to 3, if you have to seriously just dig through all of the nonsense to get through the good, then it's not worth keeping around. It's worth keeping around only to understand what the people of that time period thought. To say, hey, the Jews really did believe this stuff. The Christians really thought they were going. But beyond that, I wouldn't put it on my top 10 Amazon wish list for books. That's all.
Top 20, maybe?
Yeah. I mean, the only reason that I enjoy doing this Bible study, I think it is important that we do this Bible study and try to put some cheese on top of, I hate to say green beans, because that would imply that the Bible is healthy, but it's healthy in the respect that I think that it makes skeptics stronger. I believe that I have become more, that my beliefs are more, I hate to say, are more valid and sound, because I would like to know what type of God goes through a lobotomy that they're telling me is coming up in chapter 2 with hell, that he gets all lovey-dovey. Because he seems like a dick right now. He just seems like not a guy you want to hang out with. Maybe that's just us.
Our bias, but no,
our bias.
You're right.
But yeah, these are my Weeping Widow statues, which the Lord Bob commanded our main man, Charlton Heston, who kissed him goodbye because he's going to only last another chapter or two. Given a death sentence. What a weird God. Between a man and his wife. But it's not misogynistic. That's good.
Not
Between the
close,
father and the daughter. But what's the link here? What are they trying to say? Because they always try and argue. It's so funny how the literalists will be like, well, you're just reading it. You can't really read it. You got to understand the context.
A whole lot of it, too. Lots of context.
The context between a man and his wife and father and daughter. Seems like it's pretty straightforward. Being yet in her youth in her father's house. These are the statues that God commanded Moses. Bet he did. In the book, anyway, because I don't think that he was alive. But
praise him.
That's right. That is Randolph Richardson, the godfather of atheism. You're not talking to me. You're going to tell me that you don't have empirical evidence? Huh. But yes, feel free, because we are actually about to be jumping into the open mic. We just finished up Numbers chapter 29 and 30 of our Skeptic Bible Study, Sacrificial Vows. And we already have someone backstage with Soldier of Science. So with that, we are switching to the open mic.
Open trumpet.
Woohoo! What is up, Soldier of Science? I hope you are doing well tonight as we Skeptic Bible Study on chapters 29 and 30. And not only do I hope you're doing well, what are your thoughts about that wisdom we were just experiencing?
I mean, to be honest with you, even though I watched the Bible verses going by, it's like so little wisdom that most of the time I'm just like, what kind of things can I ask these guys? Because this is just like it's not logical for me. The God of the Bible in itself is just not logical at all. So I'm at the point. Yeah, I'm just kind of at the point that I'm like, there is so much man-made bullshit about a God and how he would behave like men in the first place that I'm so far beyond it, because no God would behave like a man would, right?
You would think. I mean, in the gods' defense, I don't know what to say. You know, in the Roman gods, the Greek gods, they were much more human and had human traits. But this shift towards all these omnis and perfects and all this nonsense baggage that you would think would be squeaky clean, he seems very human for a god that they say has no human traits.
Well, yeah, and just the very fact that men are incapable of writing good science fiction text 2,000 years ago and would somehow come up with the thought that maybe the God was way smarter than men and had a totally different logic system than men.
Much better logic.
Right? It would, I mean, it would obviously have a better logic system. It wouldn't operate on the same level that men would while writing a book called the Bible. I mean, that makes no sense. It makes zero sense at all. Like, how is a God put himself on the level of men to communicate to men. I mean, if that's the case, and we are the, apex predator, the apex creature on the earth, God could obviously just go, you know what? I'm going to speak ant, and I want to make ants. I want to make ants worship me, right? I mean, if God can speak human, right? He could do that to ants, right? Like, I want to speak ant,
Think
and there's more ants than humans, and I really want ants to worship me instead. So I'm gonna speak ant, and my logic system is gonna be about ants, and I'm gonna create this whole world to have ants worship me. Because what's the difference between ants worshiping a god and humans?
But soldier, I don't think you're looking at the big picture here. Maybe he does that. Maybe the ants are worshiping him and we just don't see it.
True. I thought of that.
Maybe he does have a scripture
I thought of
in
that.
ant language, yeah.
Yeah. No, I definitely thought of that. And hey, maybe that's why COVID-19 is surviving, because maybe God's speaking COVID-19.
The viruses are worshiping God by killing people.
Right. That's right. Viruses, they don't need to have a consciousness. They don't need to have, such a complex body and eat other organisms, well, besides humans.
Well, and all right, thank you so very much, soldier.
Thank you, soldier.
And we're about to go into open conversation after we get our next open micer in. But thank you so very much. And woohoo, I agree. And all right, Randolph Richardson, we are Skeptic Bible Studying. We are asking ourselves about sacrificial vows on Numbers chapters 29 and 30. I hope you're doing well. And what are your thoughts about the chapters or anything we just talked about?
Well, I think what you're talking about with the omnis coming in is certainly of interest. It's been part of things for quite a while.
I thought I had myself muted.
It's okay. I managed to intersperse between it. I think I did okay. The idea that God is capable of absolutely everything, being omnipotent. I guess there's a part in the Bible that says all things are possible with God. I suppose it came from there. That's my understanding. So, these are not new ideas. I think the omnipotent, the word itself, may be kind of a newer way of describing that concept. So that's where we're at with that. I'm quite happy with proceeding into the open conversation.
Woo-hoo.
Yep.
Thanks, Randolph.
Hey.
Thank you so much, Randolph.
Thanks, Amy.
And all right, I feel bad, soldier. Might have lost soldier science, but feel free to come back as we lean into the open conversation. I do want to send love. I saw Squatch Talk say, "Hey, Amy. Hey, everyone," because we are sending love to everybody out there. And welcome back, Soldier of Science.
Sorry, guys. I got cut off.
No, you're good. But we are going to be open micing for about 25 more minutes before we head to the after show in Discord. So we want to thank all of you. And if you don't mind, please like, follow, or subscribe. I will say we have a lot of fun coming up soon. I want to start using the community tab. So we're going to be doing all sorts of fun polls. We're going to be doing sorts of fun conversations. We have another Patreon show that I want to get set up, along with a whole bunch of more fun content. And when we do get 1,000 subs, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have some fun emotes and a whole bunch, and they will be round 1 of the emotes because I want to do
Round 1.
Yeah, round 1. I'm gonna become Josh's book. It says volume 1, so that means.
How many subscribers do you have now? Am I correct seeing 828?
Or 800?
Yep.
I believe so. And
Wow, you're
so
doing
we
great.
are chugging along. I'm sending love to all of you out there. It is viewers like you that make this channel possible. And so we're going to put the effort right back
Yeah,
in.
we love you guys.
Good to see you, Randolph.
Amy, why don't you take a second, tell us how the debate went?
Oh, and I missed it. Someone congratulated me on the debate very early on in tonight's stream, and I forget who it was, and I wanted to bring it up. And
was it Brian Stevens, maybe?
It might have been Brian Stevens. Whoever it was, thank you so very much. I did finally have a debate with Gavin. And so we had our back and forth. I think it went pretty well. We were both very civil. I only have one regret, which is we both gave our syllogisms, and I didn't push him back on his syllogism. In fact, it's almost a good time while we're talking about it, because I have my lovely little notes here. But he had an argument. If God did not exist, intentional states of consciousness would not exist. Intentional states do exist, therefore God exists. But I don't think
it's a loaded proposition.
Yeah,
I don't think
that God creates intentional states of mind.
I want to say hi to Marie K. Austin. I'm not in Twitch, so I'm only seeing this showing up in StreamYard here. But so Gavin, when he debated with me the second time, turned out he wasn't wearing any pants or anything. It's just completely empty down there, below the waist. Did he behave better with your stream, or he just didn't?
In my opinion, he behaved very well. We had a cordial debate. I wasn't going to. I make jokes. It comes with the comedy shtick.
Yeah.
But I will give people what they give back. And if they're being nice, I want to be nice to them back. Someone did make a comment about that. I think somebody even made a super chat about that.
Of course, that happens every time. Yeah.
He's never going to escape that. I mean, sending hearts to him.
Well,
now, maybe he'll go down the line and he'll do so many debates and other things, he'll wash that away. But hey,
that would be hard.
Debates. And Praise, I had a good time on Praise's channel.
Yeah.
Should have Praise and Gavin on our channel to have on Debate Me Bra.
I won't have anything to do with Gavin myself. So if he does come on, I'll be logging out. You'll understand why.
I completely understand.
It's just disgusting what he did, and there's quite a few debate channels that just won't have him. Some are quite big.
And that is the conundrum that I go through. Is it always goes back to intent.
Oh, you should, exactly. And you shouldn't have to be restricted by what others' experiences are. So,
it worked
out well, actually. I'm glad for you that it did.
Thank you. And so it's a middle ground. So, it didn't happen to me nonetheless. We're the non-believer, skeptic community here, the atheist community, and so I want to foster good conversations and debates, and
yeah, definitely
it is so hard to get into people's brains, and so and I deal with people when they have them, and I deal with people where I can know the intent is bad. Though I will say the people who have bad intent and I can detect it, they're almost the most fun because they self-trigger themselves, whatever word you self-upset themselves.
They work themselves up.
Woo-hoo! You are getting love from our Twitch stream. Woo-hoo!
Oh, Marie.
And we're
that's how
sending love to the interwebs. Ooh, what was
So
that?
so I wanted to say, like, I joined when you were talking about James Bond, and that this is a super interesting topic for me because I would like to know what you think about if the franchise makes James Bond an African American, or no, well, he wouldn't be African American, he would be British, right? He'd be a British.
I think
there are black
the last
people in
movie my
Britain,
wife
so-
and I watched it, he died, and there's an African American woman, or I guess black woman, who's moved into the 007 kind of place, and I'm wondering if that's a hint to her being the next James Bond, or maybe Jane Bond. I don't know what they're going to call her, but it'll be interesting to find out who they bring in next.
Here's what I would say, and this is a sensitive subject.
It is.
You just need to make whoever the character is interesting and worthy of us following them on a journey.
Yeah.
So here's my opinion. Here's my opinion as someone who writes. And if you're a writer and you create a character, that character should stay that character, in my opinion. And
I agree.
It should stay that character, and it doesn't matter the race or anything. And if James Bond, if it was written as 007, like, anybody could replace who 007 was as a spy, right? So we just name the spy 007. Any race, any gender, or whatever you identify as could replace that 007. I'm down with that. I'm down with that story. Yeah. But as a writer who you create a book, and a book is based on a spy, and it happens to be a certain race, and it happens to be in a certain country, I'm not down with changing that. I'm not. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to make a big deal about a franchise marketing it to be more, to me, seems to be more politically correct to market it to.
See, there's certain character traits. There's certain character traits of 007 that I think they've gradually been veering away
for us.
Hello? Can you hear me? Okay.
No, it's just I will say some of the subjects, they are more attuned to
Is my microphone not working? Sorry.
No, we hear you.
Okay, sorry. I thought you couldn't.
Am I going down the controversy right here, Amy?
You are a little bit.
I was
just trying to make a point about 007's character, because you'd made a comment about the character traits needing to be consistent, and yeah, that's important. And I feel like the more recent James Bond movies seem to veer away a little bit from his traditional character traits of being calm and cool all the time, because now the character seems to be more reactive and getting excited sometimes, when the original ones practically never did.
And I
always love seeing. I love seeing you guys fret when it's going to be controversial.
Well, it's one of those things. I don't believe in race.
It's a human construct. It's a human construct.
We're not a political channel.
But I know. But I believe in story. I believe in characters and stories.
Yeah,
that's the difference. That's all I'm saying.
But I mean, I like characters and story. I'm trying to think how to.
I'm saying this as someone who's written stories, and I created a character, and I would freaking hate if someone changed that character.
Did you get published?
But can I ask, what is their skin color take away from them being a super assassin?
James Bond is a person who is born as a spy. I mean, he's a character that lives on as that character. Just like I said, I gave the caveat. If it was 007, right? Like, the spy is 007. Like,
sex and race has nothing to do with any of that.
Yeah, sex and race has nothing to do with a spy being 007. But if your name is James Bond and you were born as James Bond and you're this character in a book, I don't believe you should change that for a franchise.
So the original character didn't have cell phones. Should the current ones have cell phones?
No, but those are all. I mean, obviously, James Bond 2 has like, he was
Got to
born
change
a
with the
long time
times,
ago.
man.
Yeah, he was born a long time ago, and now he's lived through all these ages and different characters, but still, he's a character who was born as James Bond as a spy. I'm just saying,
But he's not real.
I'm saying
That's the other thing.
I'm just saying as an artist who
I haven't seen one of those movies in like 10
who
years.
writes stories. I just wouldn't. I'm not down with changing characters. I mean, I could say this across every race and every freaking movie that was based on a book. I would say the same thing, to be honest with you.
There was going to be a time when Will Smith was going to be Neo. That he was the original person that they asked to be Neo. And I think Val Kilmer was going to be Morpheus. And it is very hard for us to imagine that. And yet that's what they were going to do. And they only didn't do it because Will Smith turned it down.
Yeah, but
and
was that a script
the Matrix,
for
right?
a movie, or was that a book? That
I could imagine that was the movie.
But
my
point would be is that I don't think it has to do with. I can make a politically incorrect argument for why you shouldn't care about race in any of these things, and then why something like the female Ghostbusters did not succeed. And
but even still, even the female Ghostbusters were different characters in the Ghostbusters. They were different people.
And I think
but hold on, but I'll explain to you why. I'll explain to you why something like the female Ghostbusters didn't work. And it wasn't because they were female. And that's the point I'm trying to make, is that the characters themselves did not go through a mythic structured journey in which they felt pain and suffering and earned their right to be badass. And when you try and just sell people being badass, it feels fake. And so to me,
that's a marketing argument versus I built a character in a book.
Well, it's Star Wars. Star Wars is going through the same thing with Rey. A lot of people feel that she's just been supplanted in here as a female Jedi, and she really doesn't have any of the qualifications. Disney has just said, hey, it's going to be a female Jedi. She's just as badass as all the other ones, and you got to love her.
But
still, can I give you...
Still, that's a Jedi. That's a Jedi. That's not supplanting a female or a black person for Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's not the same thing, in my opinion. It's just not. And in all honesty, if you watch the latest Cinderella, same thing. Like same thing. The latest Cinderella took a story which was obviously misogynistic about placing a woman in a category of being a princess, and now her coming out and being like, you know what, I'm not going to be. It was like, I mean, if you look at a lot of Disney stories where, hey, you as a woman, you should look up to becoming a princess in this Cinderella story. I get that. But still, it changes the entire story, regardless of how you think about the original story.
So you could say, and this is, let's do maybe a few more, and then...
Okay. I want to address the Ghostbusters thing with you in a sec, yeah.
Well, the reason that... I'll give you an opposite to Rey that works, a really geeky version. So you could say that it didn't feel like she had earned being a Jedi. Let's go with a flipped in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. One of the most powerful characters is Scarlet Witch of WandaVision. She is basically a character that can change reality. She is something for all of our creationist friends. She is known... trying to think something event. I'm trying to. She can't. In all multiple lines of the multiverse, she is always the same. She is so constant in the universe that she always exists. She is this giant, powerful creature. But why do people love her? Well, and this is spoiler alert, warning, warning, blah, blah, blah. She's gone through a lot of pain. She watched her brother die. She watched her husband die twice. She watched her children get taken away from her. Nexus being, thank you, and Nexus being, which is basically similar to how they view a god, which is she is present in all universes. She has to exist,
Honestly,
even in
Andy,
multiverses.
this is not analogous to me. It's
So
not.
you say this,
It's not,
but
because in the Star Wars world, female Jedis are, that's fine. That's another add-on of a story. It's not replacing a character which was written about and is
do you
an actual
understand my
person
point?
with a name. I do understand your point. I'm just saying it's not analogous to a person that is a spy born with this particular name, and now you start replacing him with a different race, gender, or whatever. That makes no sense. It makes no sense in someone's art as creating a character. And it doesn't matter what that race is. It makes zero sense to
Can I
replace it.
ask? It seems more like it just offends you. Like it literally
No.
offends you. It
I'm not
doesn't.
offended by it. I'm not offended by it. It just does not make sense. If I'm someone who grew up reading the Hardy Boys, right? I grew up reading the Hardy Boys. They were this particular race. They could be Mexican for all I care. Doesn't matter what their race is. But you grew up knowing them as specific characters, and then you start replacing them to market to a politically correct world. I think that's bullshit to me.
I mean, do you think what if it's not to be politically correct? What if it's just the best actor that they feel would be for the job? It just happens to be someone of a different race. Would they have to pick an inferior actor just to keep the race the same? Like, sorry, you would be great for the role, but we can't have you in that role because your skin is the wrong color. So we're going to have to go with somebody who's not as good as you. I would have a problem with that.
It's a book that was written about a white British spy.
Is being white fundamental to him being a super spy?
It's a character. It's just a character.
Exactly. It's a fictional character.
Yeah, but it's a character that was designed by that particular author to be that particular character. It's literally like saying, you know what? Spider-Man is no longer Spider-Man. I'm going to replace him.
But you know there is a black Spider-Man, and it was like the critical acclaim, right? Miles Morales.
Yeah, I don't even agree with that, to tell you the truth.
So that it was critical acclaim, or that he is like
No. To the fact that you're changing the character. That's
the whole point of Spider-Verse, is that there is multiple universes, and you get cute moments because then Peter Parker is having these like bigger brother moments with Miles. Like,
yeah, I just don't agree with that. As someone who writes characters, I wouldn't agree with someone taking my character and making it totally different.
Here's what I will agree with you with, and this is where I think the politically correct side loses the thing, is you should not do something just to do it. Is that you should not just do something and then wave a flag and say, this is what I'm doing is just
But that was the female Ghostbusters.
Least amount possible. Because what you do is you end up making people uninterested in the characters. I think it behooves anyone who is a progressive, or even someone that is just trying to represent someone, because you want to represent a population.
Okay.
what you need to do is you can't just assume that people are going to like your character. You need to put in the time, the effort, and the energy to make us fall in love with that character. In fact, there is a specific thing that you're supposed to do in script writing. And it applies to mythological structure. It's called Save the Cat. And what is Save the Cat? Is that at the beginning of every story, generally the hero does something that makes you sympathetic towards them, that
Identify
makes you
with them. Yeah,
identify
like 'em.
with them. If they're gonna have a lot of downsides, it makes you at least sympathetic so that you can go into the story. Okay, I think there were 2 questions. And we do have to finish up.
Okay,
and,
last
question.
Last question. Last
okay,
question.
and someone
for
has
you guys.
questions for you too, Soldier.
Okay,
I got questions from
But
Shane.
you
last
mentioned
que-
about
last
Ghostbusters
question.
failing, and I think that I do agree. It wasn't that good. The writing was really bad, and I feel like they kind of took the original story and they kind of redid it, but kept a lot of the same elements instead of coming up with a whole new storyline, which I think would have been better if they said, well, here in the future, there's a whole new team of these people that have carried on with the franchise, and here are their new adventures. That would have been a lot better, and not making them so weird. The characters were kind of weird.
And, what I think, once again, spoiler warning, I think the reason why the newest Ghostbusters works is because they mixed what was old and what was new, and then they gave the characters sympathetic traits for you to actually go along with the ride.
A heck of a lot of quirks too.
So here's my last controversial question, Amy. If you replace Black Panther movie with a white main actor, would that movie work?
I mean, I don't know, because that character is from a continent, but you could. I can imagine.
You mean like James Bond, right? Who is from a predominantly white continent.
You say that, but there's a difference between the fictional country of Wakanda. Also, you have the White Wolf. You also have.
But the thing is that the Black Panther, that blackness is an essential core part of his identity, whereas Bond, it was just that his character happened to be the first guy that played him happened to be white, so therefore everyone subsequent has been white.
That's not true. The book is a white British spy. It's a white British spy. It's not the first. It's not the first character in the movie.
The book specifically says he's white. That book makes that.
I don't know if he says he's specifically white, but in the book,
it's assumed. I'm sure, but
it's assumed he is a white British spy.
Okay.
So that's all I'm saying. It has nothing to do with race or anything. It has more to do with literary authenticity to me.
But can I say, if with Wakanda, you're saying a fictional country that would be within the African continent, just like if it were like a fictional Scottish continent. But James Bond is basically a super spy within, I think it's MI6. He is within a London organization that is biracial. The only reason it wouldn't have been biracial back in the day may have been because of segregation. But generally speaking...
True, that's valid. There was probably very little African or British. I don't know, black British people in MI6.
Their percent of black people in Britain is obviously much lower than it is in the United States, but they still do live there.
I think you guys are stretching. All I'm saying is, for me, don't change the character. Just don't. I don't care what race the character starts with, or what that person wrote about. Just don't change the character. For me, I'm not gonna go watch a James Bond with a different character. I'm not.
And I would say, please make good characters. I don't care what
as long
the
as the
race
character is good. Yeah, I'd rather watch a good movie than
Because
Well,
people
not-
know if they're being sold short. The market
Yeah.
just knows. There's a reason why certain heroes stick. I really do think Rey and Wanda is a good example because Wanda really is, she's beloved, she's strong, she gets to be feminine, and yet they have explored pain and tragedy and even the ability to have too much power because
Yeah, that wouldn't bother me at all. I'm down with that. I mean, if you watch the new Wheel of Time, like on Amazon Prime, it's mostly a patriarch type of movie. I mean, the women rule in that movie, and I think it's
it's
awesome.
like hyenas.
I
And
think- I
okay,
think
we're
that'd be
asking these
great.
2 questions because I want to tag. He says, can you ask Soldier if he likes Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury?
Nick Fury, can you tell me what that
You
was?
know Nick Fury? Nick Fury is the lead of the Avengers Initiative. He's wearing the eye patch.
I guess I'm not familiar enough with that story, but I love
Really?
Samuel. I love. Yeah, I'm not. I haven't watched a lot of the Marvel stuff. to be honest.
Me, I confess
That's
I'm in that
Yeah.
same camp.
Oh, really? You guys don't
But-
know Nick Fury?
But
Oh,
I love Samuel
love
L.
Nick
Jackson as an actor.
I like Samuel L. Jackson.
I think
he's
he's
a good
awesome.
actor.
I think he's amazing, and I can't wait until the what's it called season comes out. He's about to have his own show. So
On what?
hells yeah.
What platform?
I think it's going to be Disney Plus. In fact, I
Oh,
think
on
Disney
Disney
Plus
Plus.
has just overtaken Netflix as most subs.
Probably so.
And okay, guys, we've had fun. We are actually about
We
to
were
take it
walking on
back.
a tightrope.
I know.
We're
Sorry, guys.
taking back to
I didn't
Bible.
mean to do that. I mean, I'm never that controversial with you guys, but
I wouldn't go that far, Soldier. I wouldn't go that far.
Fair enough.
And hey, we love everyone. The point is
But
that
we
atheist,
still love
theist,
you.
liberal, conservative, we still love everybody. And we are going to now switch over to the Bible, though, because we have been reading Numbers
Oh.
chapter 29 and 30. And so before we do our final thoughts, do we have any final thoughts as a discussion? Because it was sacrificial vows. We've been just a whole nother bunch of sacrifices and then a bunch of one-sided vows.
Bunch of bullshit vows, yeah.
Bunch of bullshit.
No comments on that.
Well, I just think it's silly, and we can't edit the book, so we're stuck with it.
We just have to toss it.
I will
Okay.
tell you guys that most people who get show up on your phone scam call and they ignore it. I'm like the guy that answers that because I love talking.
You and Amy?
Yeah, I love talking to scam callers in India. It's one of my favorite things to do. But the other day, I got a call locally, and it was from a Christian group, and it was a woman. She was elderly, and called me while I was working. I told her I was working. She said, "Okay, I'll be quick. I just want you to go to this website and look at it." And immediately I knew she was like a Christian. And so I was like, my next question was, well, why do you believe in God? And the next conversation lasted for 40 minutes with this woman.
I've been recording my conversations with telemarketers. Like, one guy called me back because he couldn't talk about it at work, and then we talked about Islam for almost 45 minutes.
It's awesome, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm going to be putting these on YouTube, and I'm going to call my series Teletools.
I love it. And I mean, this is the first time this has ever happened to me. And I think she was a Jehovah's Witness, to be honest with you.
Sounds like it.
She said she was a volunteer. She admitted she was not a Trinitarian. She said she was Catholic. She was raised Catholic, but now she's not, obviously. But it was amazing, and the realization that they're putting people to work, right? They're putting people to work to call people is pretty
Spread that good news.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Spread
I
those
would love to
cheeks.
talk with writing about you, writing sometime with you in more depth, because I think you and Amy both seem to have a lot of experience. I don't know, James, if you've done much writing. I have no
None
idea.
at all.
Okay. But
I
it could
do,
be
I
an
have.
interesting topic, finding out more about how to improve our own writing, because
Yeah.
I've been working on writing some
Podcast on that.
have a lot of
I
characters.
I want to do just characters or podcasts or episodes or premieres even of just things like mythic structure, character development, how to write a script, all this fancy knowledge that I have to pay a lot of debt for. I need to start putting that on the internet and giving it back to the people like you. That's
think that'd be
right,
great.
viewers.
I think that'd be great because it could be educational too. So I think there's a lot of people who want to do more writing, and it could be quite helpful to, even if it's just partly helpful to them. It'd be great.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and I absolutely don't want you guys to get offended by my opinion. I think I just want to make it clear that I think characters can be interchangeable, and you can use any race, gender for a specific character if the character is generic. But if you build a character in a story, and that character maybe happens to be born in a certain county, and it is born to a certain family, I don't think you could change that. And if you do, if you ultimately do, it's for marketing reasons, in my opinion.
Many of the alien species in my story have more than two sexes, so it's there's a lot more diversity there. And I've been thinking about this stuff, working on this since the '80s. So
yeah. I mean, that's a way to solve that, right?
And this
it's
is
not
my
meant to solve a problem. It's just meant to show diversity. Yeah.
this is my last plea, and we're going into outros.
Okay.
Because just we need good characters with development that we care about. I like fantasy, I like sci-fi and mythology specifically, I think, because I do not believe.
Right.
Yeah.
Trying to think how to say, because we consider ourselves a politically incorrect show. We are a PG-13 to R.
Right.
R.
Right.
And we like
Amen.
treading on topics that, people may shy away from. Nonetheless, I believe, and I believe it's strong within the comedy community.
Yeah.
I believe a lot of comedy is comforting the afflicted and afflicting the comforted.
Afflicting.
Afflicting the
No,
comforted.
I hear you, Amy. I mean, it is literally a world we're treading on right now where, if
if I can interrupt you,
Yep.
my olive branch to you is don't let people who have been lazy about how they have been maybe an activist or a writer turn you off to a lot of good characters that it sounds so cheesy.
It does.
That look and sound different than it. It just reminds me of Star Wars in general, in that there are so many different species, so many different things, and people are still going to act the same way, even if we're an intergalactic species, even when we, I believe, have sex and get all these notions of race, because we're just going to keep bumping uglies. We're still going to have things, because at the end of the day, tribalism is the problem, which is we like to us and them. I mean, we had a chapter not too long ago where God commanded his new chosen dude to just shove a spear through an interfaith couple. And
I thank you for that, but I don't want you to mistake. I don't want you to mistake that my preference for a literary character staying the same has any bearing on society or race or
No, we don't think you're.
preference. I don't
You're
want you to
clearly
think
not a racist person,
yeah,
and we would never say that.
I don't want you to think that at all.
Not at all.
It is purely a preference on someone who's developed a character and they started with this character, and to me as someone who reads those stories, that character should stay the same as close to possible without changing that character, because then for me it makes it not realistic once you change the character. That's it.
Okay.
He has a car that shoots missiles, right? I just want to put that. We are going to outros with that. Sending love to everyone out there. And with that, we are moving into our Skeptic Bible outros before we head into the Discord after show. Sending love. Woohoo! What is up, Randolph? We have been having fun. We have been Skeptic Bible studying on, well, sacrificial vows, where we took a portion of sacrifices and a portion of vows. I hope you had fun. And what are your final thoughts?
I think for a deity who can create anything, sacrificial vows or even sacrifices of any sort for this deity doesn't make sense. It's an extra effort that's pointless. It's useless. I just don't see the purpose, the utility of it. I guess I said the purpose is not what I meant, but the utility I don't see. It doesn't make sense. So yeah, I really liked how this conversation delved into writing a little bit, and I'm very seriously interested in hearing what you have to say about writing in future episodes. That'll be, and others like the other guest here seems to have a lot of experience in this field, so it could be quite a good separate series of videos. You know, if you want to do it, let me know. I'll be happy to try to help out as much as I can, because writing is interesting to me. If people want to reach me, my website is www.canadianatheists.ca. That's the organization I run, Canadian Atheists. We're hoping to normalize atheism in Canadian culture, society, and hopefully throughout the whole world. And thanks to everybody who supports and promotes this. We're using a gentle, non-confrontational approach, asking theists to do less rather than more, so that we don't get so much stigma and vilification. You can also find me on Twitter at www.twitter.com/Randolph828. And I have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/Randolph Richardson. And this is Randolph spelled the letter F, not a PH, no matter what autocorrect tells you.
I was going to make sure you got that part in.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Hello to everybody in the audience. And thank you, Amy and James, for hosting this. It's always a fantastic show that you put on.
Always fun to have you, Randolph. And all right, sending love to the godfather of atheism and moving right down the line. Soldier of Science, we have been Skeptic Bible studying on sacrificial vows. I hope you had a good time. And what are your final thoughts?
Always had a great time, Amy. Thanks for letting me join. Sorry, I was kind of walking that line. I know there's a certain amount of content on YouTube that probably is close to violating terms of service that I never want to try to cross. But to me, I think it's important to be honest and not let sometimes the political correct world make you not be honest. Especially, if you do run a channel, it sometimes prevents you from ultimately being as honest as you possibly can, in just fear of someone using that content against you and saying, well, you're this way because you don't accept that we should change this character for this particular reason. And I know that that's controversial to say, but I know that that's also what you guys deal with as creators on YouTube on a daily basis, and you do a great job of avoiding that. Both of you guys do. So
We try.
yep, no, you do, and I
Thank you,
recognize that.
soldier.
Yeah, I recognize that when you guys are trying to steer me away from that. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys listening. Just wanted to be honest, and I love you both, and thanks for having me on.
Have a good night, soldier.
Sending
Thank
love
you.
right back. And hey, we want to have good conversations. We always like people who disagree with us. And yeah, thank you so much, soldier. And all right.
Conversation.
That too. And we are handing James the keys. We have
Why
been
would you do
Skeptic
that,
Bible
Amy?
studying on sacrificial vows. Woohoo! I hope you had a good time tonight, James. And of course, what are your final thoughts?
Well, appreciate everybody for making it through that Bible study with us. We wouldn't have been able to get through it without you, because that was a couple rough chapters, a lot of sacrifices, a lot of bullshit, a lot of silly vows, but we made it through. So thanks everybody for coming along for the ride. And yeah, have a great night. Thanks everybody in chat and everybody on the panel. Randolph, Soldier, Amy.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
That's right. Want to thank you all. As I see Doorknob Head, Squatch Talk, Shane, Flum, Charles, all of you out there in chat, Kill Doggy, Doorknob Head. I want to send love to you guys and thank you so very much. I hope you had a fun time on this episode of Skeptic Bible Study.
I think
Sacrificial.
But quick, I
Vows.
think it's Squatch Talk, not Squash Talk.
Squatch Talk.
Yeah.
I think that he has a picture of my uncle up there. No.
Oh, you know them. Okay.
He's
That's
looking
right.
out, looking for Sasquatch behind Randolph's house in Saskatchewan.
Where tonight we ordered some food to go as God commanded, sacrifices on Trumpet Blowing Day, my favorite holiday, and Holy Convections Days before telling us vows for men or women, mostly women though. Though before he left, Moses is probably going to die soon. I want to thank my co-host, James W., with our guest, Soldier of Science, and Randolph Richardson, woo-hoo! Along with our awesome mods who make this stream so great, the lovely people in chat, and viewers like you. If you enjoyed the show, please don't forget to like, follow, or subscribe. Then you can hit that bell to all, because that's what gives you reminders to join our live streams. And hey, maybe leave a comment after the video if you'd like to come join us. We'll be heading to Discord afterwards to chat with the community, the link of which is in the description below. Finally, if you'd like us to help us make even more content, we offer perks for your support by going to patreon.com/Amy Newman. I am Amy Newman, and we will see you all on the next episode of Skeptic Ball Z. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thanks.
Thank you, guys.